coming to you live from the Sonoran Desert. It's a hot desert and ecoregion in North America that covers the northwestern Mexican states of Sonora, Baja California, and Baja California Sur, as well as the southwestern United States in Arizona and California, two states that actually have good flags. It is the hottest desert in Mexico, and it has an area of 260,000 square kilometers. We are here today with the PondCast, episode number 42. I am, as usual, your host, Yaku of Yakuzaku, joined by El Hombre Espacial en la Tierra que tiene una abundancia de alegría, like _VIP, and as always, we are being produced by Odi Chajeche Tuber, Kitore Moje Zajdvonik du Vielu Uberov, 60 Squats and Seki, Kuro. We got a lot of news for you today. Not a lot of them good, to be honest, but some of them good.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Well, what's up? Yeah, what's up? Yeah, what's up? It's great to be back once again with another episode of the PondCast. As you mentioned, we do have a lot to go over. Results of the week, news of the week as well related to StarCraft, and they just had to drop the bombshell after we ended the PondCast last week.
Literally a few hours after. Yeah.
Smooth. So that's when they did drop it. So we weren't able to talk about it last week, but now we're here to catch up on the news, the specifically EWC and EPT news from last week.
Yeah, technically two separate events, but very much intertwined with each other just because of, how big both of them were for the past. Well, both of them were big last year, but for the most part, EPT has been big, and ESL organizing events has been big for much longer.
For sure. And it was really like a roller coaster ride of emotions last week, just because I think everyone noticed and everyone was spreading the initial news, which was the fact that the EWC Esports World Cup have announced that StarCraft 2 will be a part of this year's event. So that was a big kind of surprise, or I say surprise, but like a kind of a big moment for the scene, for the community. Everyone was elated, everyone was excited, and then that was immediately undercut by the announcement from EPT, from ESL, about the ending and the termination of the ESL Pro Tour.
Yeah, which, again, you can't really announce one without the other, or you can't really delay one without the other at the same time. It is the reality that we're going to be faced with, so I appreciate that they didn't delay this news at all. I think Pig recently in a video did say that this news isn't really surprising, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still really fucking disappointing.
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that that it wasn't surprising, just because if you recall, one of the big reasons why this was most likely delayed is because we had assumed, and which is probably the case, that ESL, they were within negotiations with EWC about trying to push a circuit. For those that are maybe not following other esports, EWC, they have already confirmed circuits and multi-year support for other titles, right? For CSGO, for League of Legends, for all these other esports. So we assume that ESL was also trying to make that happen for SE2 as well. Clearly, now we know that the negotiations fell through. They failed to do so, but I'm sure that's what they were attempting to pull off, and I'm sure there was a chance that they would have succeeded. We don't really know the details as to what happened or as to what they were pushing for, what the demands were, and the back and forth between the two entities. But unfortunately, it did fall through. Right now, we have confirmation. It took a long time. It took 4 months since the start of the year to get here, but at least now
4
there's
months
no
since the start of the year, and about 10 months, if my math is correct, or 9 months or something like that, since the end of the last EWC.
Exactly. So it's been quite some time since I'm sure they were within talks, but at least now something that we can say for certain is that now we know, right? Now we know. Now, like, there's no ambiguity about it. Now there's no guessing about it. Now it's like, okay, there's no longer like any support for a circuit. Now it's just going to be the one big event here at EWC.
Yeah, which, as much as I want to be excited about the fact that we are getting an EWC. The fact that there is no longer going to be a circuit, honestly, it's something that does hit very, very hard. And overall, I don't know. Overall, I do feel like the bad news has kind of overtaken the good in a sense.
Yeah, for sure, right? Because it does mean that the future is very uncertain as to what's going to happen with StarCraft. Again, a post was made from ESL going over this. They tried to express that they're not by any means like regretting like their time that they spent with StarCraft. It was really cool to see that there was some comments made by Carmack, by Apollo, and by Alex. They all had like their own little statements regarding their time with StarCraft and regarding their time supporting it within ESL as well. So it's definitely something that they have been putting together, I'm sure, for quite some time. So yeah, like the quote unquote like ESL or EPT bubble now has burst. Now that is no longer going to be a thing that the StarCraft community can kind of rely upon.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just no more EPT, right? It's also the fact that there's no longer going to be any StarCraft 2 events at any future kind of ESL, or basically any ESL organizing for StarCraft 2 anymore.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's the one thing we can hope for, and I think most people already said this, is that there is a chance that there might be like a StarCraft event at each EWC, right? Like they've said themselves that they're hosting an event for EWC, but they're not supporting a circuit, right? They're not supporting, as you mentioned, like a DreamHack Dallas or like an IM Katowice or anything like that. So there is definitely chances, or there is hope to be had when it comes to them featuring StarCraft again on an annual basis. Part of me maybe thinks that maybe one of the reasons, I don't know for certain, but I would imagine like maybe one of the reasons why they didn't want to support StarCraft 2 for multiple years is because of the other RTSs that are like right around the corner. And right now there is this kind of like sense of, if any of these other RTSs make it big, it does feel like a lot of the pros in SC2 are like really happy to maybe jump at them and maybe switch on over. And because that the scene is looking maybe a little bit unstable, and it's one of those things where I don't know if you want to be EWC, if you want to like lock yourself in with SC2 for like 3 years, and then Stormgate comes out next year and everyone switches to Stormgate, it's like, well, it's like, well, what am I stuck with, right? Like, so there's a chance that maybe like on an annual basis it's going to be an event at EWC, but that's probably the most we can hope for. Like as you mentioned, right? Like we're not really expecting anything at like an IM like Krakow or DreamHack.
Yeah, which also means that doesn't seem like there's going to be any tournaments being held in North America either, because for the longest time it was DreamHack and ESL that were the ones who were really pushing for, we're going to have one in Montreal or we're going to have one in Atlanta or stuff like that. For EU and for Asia, there is still some stuff, like SC Boy has put together, I'm sure is looking to put together a couple more offline events if they can afford it over there. And I mean, this is just a rumor, but apparently recently the Patreon page for GSL has become active again. So we'll see if that goes anywhere. And in EU, we're going to have Star Zagora, and we can always count on Home Story Cup. But yeah, those are pretty much the two regions that we can be pretty certain we're going to have stuff in.
Yeah, right now is going to be a really important time. Yeah, potentially, right? Potentially. I think Joe did recently tweet about how he wants to host one more Cheesedelphia at the end of the year, if at all possible. But yeah, I think right now is going to be a really important time and really important period for the StarCraft community and for the StarCraft scene. As you mentioned, like right now, is this 2025 is going to mark like the end of like an era here of EPT, right? ESL, they've been hosting and supporting and running the circuit since 2020, so 5 strong years. But moving on from here, I think this is when this is kind of going to be the formation here of what the future of StarCraft 2 esports is going to look like. I think a lot of people are kind of, I'm sure, a little bit anxious about what that entails. 100% like understandable. And I feel like, yeah, we'll see how the community comes together, right? Because as you mentioned,
Mhm.
there isn't right now going to be an event for North America, but that doesn't mean there won't be, right? But it takes the initiative of, I feel like, a lot of the other tournament organizers and community members to do that. I think, for example, last year we had the SE2 Safe House. That was like the home
Yep.
story cup of NA. Which was organized by Zombie Grub, and that was crowdfunded as well. Like things like that, initiatives like that will have to be taking place to have these kind of events on a more regular basis. I do think we've seen a lot of success already in the sense that right now, especially during the off season, we have a lot of weeklies, we have a lot of regular events that are all funded by the community, right? Like we have Patreon set up for our tournaments. We have a Patreon set up for
Yep.
Thermal's tournaments. We have a Patreon for, as you mentioned, like GSL's Patreon suddenly coming back online. Wardy, he has a Patreon for his seasonal events, for like the spring championship, for like the fall championship. Like Wardy, he has his events going on. We have the Pig Slide Festival that just went on,
Mhm.
and it also just got funded for the next one. Like there's a lot of crowdfunded initiatives that are becoming quite successful, and I think that's kind of the thing that we have to take into account moving forward to try to host like some more regular events.
Yeah, there's a part of me that's worried that crowdfunding this sort of stuff might not be as sustainable compared to what we previously had. But if it takes us scaling things down, then I'm sure most people in the community, the players as well, would probably prefer that as opposed to just there not being anything anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like StarCraft will continue, but as you mentioned, it is going to be a scaled down version of it. Because that, I think we're all expecting like more retirements. That's the reality here, is that there's going to be more. We've already been seeing retirements throughout the past year, throughout the past 2 years. So we're probably going to be seeing more retirements from players. I think you mentioned that Pig had a video recently referring to like what the scene may
Quite a
look like in the
comprehensive one,
future. Yeah. I would I think he related it to, I think he mentioned like AoE 2 or AoE 4. I would relate it to Brood War. For those that are familiar with the Brood War scene, it's a little bit more unique, and if you're not as ingrained, you may not know this. But Brood War players and the Brood War Pro scene is not actually sustained by tournaments. Tournaments and ASL, they're nice, but really they more supplement their income. Really, most, if not all, their income comes from streaming. Like all the big Brood War Pro players, they're all streamers. They're all content creators. They make a lot of money via donations and subscriptions over on Soup, on their own streaming platforms, and they compete to like supplement their income, sort of thing. Like they don't make all their money from competing, and most likely that's kind of like where StarCraft 2 is going to head as well, where it's going to be very difficult for a player to sustain themselves monetarily by just prize money.
Yeah. Unless you're like one of the absolute top three, right? Unless you're a Cyril or a Clem or a Rainer or what have you. But
yeah.
Yeah, and I would definitely echo that. I think that outside of AoE 4 and Brute War, we kind of already have a sense of what that kind of looks like in SE2 itself, right? When I know Hero Marine has taken a step back from competing full-time nowadays, but even when he was competing full-time, he was still streaming a lot. You have people like Lambo, people like
Hearthstone.
a lot of Hearthstone, a lot of content creators who are also very, very, very competitive. It's going to be interesting to see, though, how many more players kind of go down that avenue, go down that route, and how many just retire altogether. If I remember correctly, Sue actually was one of those a while ago, back when he was still kind of competing. When he was on a Freak of Freaks trying to stream as well to kind of supplement his income, but after a while kind of realized that he wasn't the biggest fan of streaming, so I decided to just retire entirely. So we'll see. Not every competitive player is cut out to also be a content creator, is what I'll say.
100%. That's going to be a big factor here coming into 2026. Is I think it's going to hit the Korean scene the hardest, as you mentioned, right? Because there's a lot of Korean players that are really good at the game, that they want to focus on competing and playing. I'm thinking of players like Maru, I'm thinking of players like Beyond, I'm thinking of players like Solar, like all these guys that they just want to practice and compete.
Maybe
and
not so much
excel at
Beyond.
the game.
He likes to stream.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Like a lot, I would say the majority of the Korean players, they don't stream anymore, right? Like at times they were used to when they were contracted to, like back like the Splice Boys, for example, back in the day. But like Twitch, like that's not on. That they don't support
Yeah,
Korean
yeah.
Korean players anymore, right? They don't support
Gonna
the
have to be
Korean
on Soup,
region.
which yeah,
Yeah, which
which I
is
mean
not as
Soup
accessible for international viewers.
exactly like Soup is pretty good for Korean streamers. Like they definitely when you get donations and when you get tips and subscriptions and stuff like that, it's not too bad, but it's a very limited audience that you're getting there because the reality is it doesn't work very well outside of Korea.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit concerned about specifically the Korean scene, just because when I think of the Korean content creators, I think of Shin. He comes to mind. A little bit of Nightmare, like Nightmare, he does a little bit of stuff as well, streaming and,
Nowadays,
and making
Ryung,
some YouTube
yeah.
videos.
Nowadays,
Yeah,
yeah.
Ryung, he's transitioning to a caster. Like Ryung does a lot of casting nowadays. But like they're few and far between. Like Bunny doesn't stream. Like Bunny doesn't do any of that. Like Hero doesn't stream. Hero doesn't do that stuff either. So it's going to be up to them to make that switch, right? To be more adamant when it comes to streaming, when it comes to making content. If that's what they want to do. If that's I should say what they want to, how they want to. If they want to keep like competing and playing StarCraft and trying to make that how they make their full time like income, right? I want to say that maybe Pig did mention that for the most part, like StarCraft is going to become more of like a hobbyist esports where most likely going to be competing in your free time, maybe not doing that as like your main way of like making income.
Yeah. I would like to imagine that whoever joins Team Vitality, Crank would be able to force them to stream, but well, we'll see about that. And yeah, it's kind of interesting that you brought out Brute War and how a lot of the top players are also streamers, and they stream as their main source of income, and then tournament winnings are kind of supplementary for that. And then you also mentioned that the Korean SE2 players aren't really as used to that sort of thing, and it's kind of interesting to me how that happened, because as we know for a very, very long time, way back in the Kespa days, a lot of players just flat out weren't allowed to stream. They had to keep everything secret. They didn't want other players from other teams analyzing their playstyles and figuring out how to beat them. Kind of interesting how the Brute War players kind of broke out of that mindset in a way, and again, we'll see if the SC2 players are going to be able to do that as well. I mean, it's been years since Kespa hasn't been involved in StarCraft 2, and we have seen a couple of Korean players do enjoy making content and do like streaming from time to time, but like you said, it's few and far between. They are the minority of Korean players who actually enjoy streaming and making content.
Yeah, part of it is also the game as well. Like, this is where it would have been really cool if Zomigo had asked or interviewed Crank about this, because I remember Crank speaking on it, how him switching to streaming and streaming full time was kind of a difficult choice to make, especially streaming on Twitch. I remember he was talking about how a lot of people were kind of pushing him to stream on Afrika at the time, for example. Yeah, and how the audience wasn't really there for SE2. And I'm sure that's a part of it, but like Crank's stream is still quite successful. He is more of a variety streamer nowadays, but he still casts a lot of SE2. He still streams a lot of SE2 as well. I want to believe that there's untapped potential there. I do think that's a big barrier. Like you were comparing like the Brood War players and the SE2 players, and I do think part of it is that right now, like there was always, we spoke about it during the history of StarCraft, but like there has been a little bit of stigma, or just hasn't been as much enthusiasm from the Korean scene for SE2. So like Brood War is popping off on Soup, for example, but not really. Right? I don't think there's any SE2 streamers on Soup. Crank is on Chijijik. So like I'm sure that's a little bit intimidating. I'm sure maybe even a lot of the StarCraft 2 players, the Korean players, they might even think that it's not worth streaming, right? And I hope they try it. I hope they're able to like foster a scene, right? Like Ryung, like he's the first one to like step into the ring alongside Crank now. So I hope they're able to like kind of to craft their own niche and craft their own audience.
Yeah, that's definitely the hope, to be sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I just want to step back a little bit, since two things. Since we are kind of talking a little bit about Pig's video, which, again, I recommend everybody to watch it. It's a very comprehensive one, and he's very articulate in laying out his thoughts there. But you kind of mentioned that perhaps one of the reasons why ESL is now dropping SE2 is because of the other RTS games that are popping off. But thinking back to Pig's video, I would say that part of it, and it's something that it seems a lot more likely now, especially now that SE2 is kind of in what's called maintenance mode, is just a lack of dev support that's happening nowadays. And as Pig kind of laid out in that video, if you want an esports scene to be big, or if you want an esports scene to make it big, it needs dev support. And esports in general, but especially from the point of view of developers, esports is marketing. It's how can we translate this into getting players to spend money on our game and for investors to kind of invest in our new projects and stuff like that. And again, SE2 has been in maintenance mode for a very long time, and yeah, it does seem that we all kind of knew that Blizzard didn't think that there was much money to be made or much more revenue to be made from StarCraft 2. I think a lot of us were kind of hoping that Microsoft might be able to change things a little bit there, but so far it seems that Microsoft is of a similar mindset to Blizzard in this.
Kind of. I think I would disagree with that just because it was after Microsoft's acquisition over the past year where, right, we had that patch that no one was expecting, two patches actually, the Heroes of the Storm update and the Warcraft 3 update, right? Like, it's possible that if Microsoft hadn't stepped in, that they would just be left unattended, right? So like I would want to say there's hope there, but maybe not the hope in that they would step in and suddenly support StarCraft 2. Like, I would imagine that, again, part of Microsoft's acquisition is to get those games back online in a sense, and also to, like, you know, spread the IP, which is what we heard about last week, right? To, like, you know, make use of the StarCraft IP in other ways. I don't necessarily think they're going to step in and
not so much in esports,
start revitalizing SE2 again. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. I can see that mindset or that point of view from Microsoft, which is like, yeah, we need this IP to keep going. We should, like, patch the game to make sure that people still play it at the very least, so that we actually have, like, numbers. Oh,
sorry. Just switching servers for a moment. So good.
But I drop off. Yeah, as I was saying, so Microsoft does want to, you know, have those player numbers, you know, at least show investors or at least show shareholders that, hey, this is still worth keeping around. We don't have to sell this just yet or what have you. But yeah, it does seem that they're not as interested in the esports side of things. So
for 100%, and I do think that what you said definitely has value, especially maybe I wouldn't say in regards of ESL, but in regards of EWC. From my understanding, the esports, the people working behind the scenes on Esports World Cup, they do want not just esports titles, but they also want publisher and developer support with that as well. And I'm sure, again, like as we were kind of discussing, some of the potential reasons as to why kind of negotiations failed, that's probably another factor as well, where EWC would be less willing to invest into like a full circuit and multi-year support if the developer of the game isn't even like supporting the game itself, right? Like, I'm sure that was also like a factor in, because I feel like ESL have shown that they're willing to step in even without Blizzard supporting the game. Like that's what they did over the past like 5 years, basically, is that they took that role.
Pretty much, yeah.
But EWC are most likely less willing to be that like optimistic, or less willing to take that chance, and more willing to invest elsewhere, right?
Because I mean, they don't have the history with StarCraft that ESL has. They don't have that kind of connection, or, for lack of a better word, for that kind of passion, right? A lot of people behind. We've heard this a lot from ESL. I mean, in general, yes, esports is gonna run you at a net negative. You are not gonna make a lot of money organizing all this stuff unless you can get a lot of different sponsors and things like that. But we have heard that's a big reason why ESL was so pushed to keep supporting StarCraft 2 is just the fact that a lot of higher-ups really like the game. So
yeah, and a lot of higher-ups,
something that we appreciate. Yeah,
it's also like they probably like came a little bit from StarCraft early on as well, right? Maybe not so much anymore, but like because of that history, as you mentioned, like that definitely like goes a long way, right? and that's why we had those words from Apollo, from Carmack, from Alex as well when it comes to that, like those farewell notes. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a difficult time for the StarCraft scene, especially post EWC this year. It is going to be difficult. It's, again, as you mentioned, expect to see retirements, expect to see things downscale as well. But especially for us, when it comes to tournament organizers, when it comes to content creators as well, like, this is also an important time for us to step up as well, right? To step up and to make sure that there is something left afterwards, right? Whether it's us, whether it's, everyone else, right? Like Steadfast, Wardy, Chicken Man, Dave Testa, Pig, Euthermal, Harstem. I think now there's that much more onus on said tournament organizers or content creators to in a sense, make something of what we have. And again, I think there are good examples of that, whether it's Brood War, whether it's AoE, Warcraft 3 as well. Like Warcraft 3, they kept going, they kept hosting events even without Blizzard support.
Yeah, we're good. I think Wax Angel made a funny little comment somewhere where it's like, well, time to see if we can be as passionate as the Smash Bros. Scene. Who notoriously Nintendo has tried to shut them down over and over and over again, but they keep propping up. If the Smash Brothers scene can do it, I think we can too.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. There are definitely questions to be asked when it comes to how we want to approach it as well. I know, like, Wax, he floated the idea. He is like, what if we got rid of all these weeklies and like they all the prize pools came together for like one circuit or something like that. Just floating like ideas like that around, or even if there was a circuit, like what that would look like. There's definitely different approaches. There's definitely different ways we can try to take that into account. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be a very challenging year for fans and creators alike. For sure.
Fans, creators, even players. We already saw a couple of retirements early on this year, so.
Yeah, exactly.
One more thing to kind of mention here, which I kind of forgot about until you brought up the patch for Warcraft and Warcraft 3 and I almost said Hearts of Iron. Heroes of the Storm, both games with HOs in them. We're going to have to figure out how balance is going to happen from here on out, because ESL was really the one who was pushing for new patches and for the balance council and things like that. So I would imagine that similar to, I keep wanting to say Hearts of Iron, what's wrong with me? Similar to Heroes of the Storm and Warcraft 3 Reforged, Microsoft is probably going to step in and probably going to insist on some patches based on feedback and stuff like that, but I don't know if the balance council is still going to be a thing.
Yeah, that's definitely another thing that has to be addressed. As you mentioned, I think in the ESL statement they did say that they're no longer going to be obviously because they're stepping back, they're not going to be supporting like the more consistent changes to the game or even map pool updates as well. That is definitely something that has to. That's definitely something that probably like the Balance Council currently, because I'm sure they have maybe some more contacts within Blizzard to actually implement some of these changes, then they might have to play like a bigger role in that as well. It's gonna be hard to say, because as you mentioned, when it comes to that Warcraft 3 update, I believe Blizzard either Blizzard reached out or I want to say they reached out and they got feedback from the Back to Warcraft creators and from the players to make those changes that they eventually went for. So we might see something similar there. That's going to be another question that needs to be answered for sure. Like what happens with the map pool? What happens with balance patches? Yeah. I'm a little bit hopeful that maybe we can push out one patch before EWC. That would be ideal. But that's maybe a little bit copium from my side, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. Hope for the best, but don't expect too much. Is I guess how we should approach. Is I guess how we all should kind of approach competitive StarCraft moving forward.
For sure. So yeah, that was a big piece of news that was kind of thrown at us last week, and everyone's been discussing it as well. Other creators, I'm sure, have also been discussing it. I know there's Definitely a lot of people that are feeling motivated to step up and to step in and to step into the ring. I think Uthermal, he recently said like, hey, maybe I should start hosting other events outside of just 2v2 tournaments and stuff like that. Like, definitely there's room for people to step in, especially post EWC. And also, at least the players do have something to work towards. I don't think any qualifiers or any details have been released about this upcoming Esports World Cup, but I'm sure the prize pool is going to be massive, and the players do have that to work towards as well.
Yeah. Hopefully the prize distribution isn't going to be super top heavy once again, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So that does lead into our next bit of news here. That is players looking for teams. Shin did recently leave Gaiman Gladiators. Classic, of course, once again, saying that he's looking for a team, and Creator as well. So 3 Korean players. I think what's important here is that most likely they will be picked up, or I should say, most likely EWC will once again kind of have that kind of clause. I think they already announced that they do have it, where if teams do compete in multiple esports, then they do get a bonus. There was like 500k or almost $1 million bonus to, for each like extra esport that they were playing in. So that
goes to the organization or the team itself.
Yes.
So
yes,
it's something that will motivate the organizers themselves, or I keep saying the team management themselves, as opposed to just the players won't have to nag the players won't have to nag their managers and whatnot. I'd be like, hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah. So that's that I believe is in effect for the EWC. So once again, teams are most likely to be looking at StarCraft 2 players now that StarCraft 2 is now confirmed for EWC. So it isn't just these players like Shin, Classic, and Creator. We did mention earlier there are some other key teamless players that most likely are going to be looked at. Here is the big one. Here is the big one that's currently teamless.
Yeah, a lot of players who were kind of dropped from their teams at the beginning of the year, like Showtime as well. His long-time partnership with Berlin International Gaming, Spirit's another big one. Estrella, I would say Estrella, but I think there are still a couple of question marks surrounding Estrella, as in like he doesn't seem to be super active right now. So I would love for him to come back, and hopefully he will be able to qualify for the EWC. But we'll see.
Gumiho is another one.
Gumiho, I forgot about Gumiho being dropped by Cloud9.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of these players are once again going to be looking for teams, and I'm sure once again we're going to be seeing some of these players picked up. One thing that I will say though is that it also depends on how large the event is going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if teams right now are waiting to see how many players are going to be, like, how big is the event going to be for EWC, right? Is it going to be 16 players? Is it going to be 24, right? Like, how valuable or are some of these pickups here when it comes to them?
Exactly. How many players can they... Is it worth it to get more than just one player, essentially, right? How are the chances going to be looking like for their players to actually qualify for the event? And if there are a lot of slots, then maybe they'll pick up, instead of just one, they'll pick up 2 or 3, and so then there's a chance that maybe all of them, or maybe even just one of them, makes it through, and then they get their bonus.
Yeah, exactly. Some teams might even wait until after the qualifiers, until players are confirmed to be at EWC, and then go for the players. Then
which is like. It's like a chicken and egg, right? Because then some of the players who will be like, well, if I don't have a team, then I can't count on, being supported to actually go to this tournament. So I might as well not even play in the qualifiers and stuff like that. It's like,
yeah, for sure.
We'll see.
But exactly. So we'll find out more details on EWC, and then once we find out, I'm sure we'll be talking about it here during the PondCast. But yes, we have more players that are actively looking for teams. Meanwhile, when it comes to some good news, when it comes to some exciting news here, Sort of, who has been engaged for quite some time.
Yeah, I was going to say, sort of a competitor for quite a while. He was a member of the Team Unity team house, the foreigner team house in Seoul, a pillar of that team house, to be honest, and obviously big friend of the CranKy Ducklings channel as well. So you're saying, to engage for quite a while, and finally, over this weekend, made it official.
Yeah. Congratulations to Sort of, and congratulations to Sort of's partner as well for getting married over the weekend. We did get to see a lot of photos in the lead up to it as well when it comes to wedding rehearsals and of course the wedding itself. And we actually didn't quite know exactly who was going. We did hear that Rainer had flown to Korea, that Lambo was going to Korea as well. But a bunch of the European players did actually head on over to be a part of the wedding.
Yeah, I have to admit, it took me a while. I didn't put two and two together until Björn was kind of talking to us and be like, "Oh yeah, all these players from Europe flew over for sort of's wedding," and I was like, "Oh, that's why."
There you go. So,
really matters of romance, clearly.
God damn it. But yeah, really exciting news here. Really happy for Sort of as well. So congratulations, Sort of joining the now many players actually that are married, referring to like Hero, Solar as well, Dark of course. Yeah, true. Raz, mate, Raz, it's got a mini Mario already.
He's got a mini Mario,
yeah. So it has been it's really cool to see, really exciting, and it's always exciting to see players like interact outside of just the game as well. Like it's really cool to see players go the extra mile and fly to Korea to support Sort of and to be there for his wedding. Like that's really dedicated and really cool.
Yeah. I guess he's living there now. We have confirmation on that.
Yeah.
Again, it took me a while to realize, oh, that's why he's living in Korea now.
God damn it. God damn it. Yeah. God damn it. Aye.
And then I wonder why I'm single.
So congratulations to Sort of. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, as you were saying, really cool to see the players interact outside of the game as well. We also had a tweet from Björn saying the SC2 family have gathered together for now that all the European players have flown over to Seoul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll be getting more in depth into that during the tournament discussion. By the way, there's a story involved into what's happening in that image.
There's some beef.
Photos. We'll get back to it. But yeah, so congratulations. Meanwhile, that leads us into our next set of announcements here. We have a new semi-pro tournament announced from the Platinum Heroes.
Indeed, we do. With the news of EWC having a slot for StarCraft 2 and ESL also now dropping the ESL Pro Tour, Platinum Heroes is going to be putting together a bit of a semi-professional tournament for players who are specifically, I had to double read this the first time I saw this announcement, specifically below 3k points on Aligulac. That's not MMR. I did a double take the first time I read this tweet, and I'm like, semi-pro? 3k? And I was like, oh, Aligulac, right, not MMR. So, yeah, somebody to support more up-and-coming players, in a sense, which, I don't know, I feel like 3k might still be a little bit low on Aligulac, but it's definitely, you could definitely still be somewhat competitive at that level, I suppose.
Yeah, I actually, so I'll be honest, I don't use Aligulac at all. But is 3k, what is the cutoff on that? Like what level of player is 3k? That's what I'm curious about.
You know what? We have the math. Aligulac.com doesn't support a secure connection. Well, I'm going to continue anyway.
So, looking at Aligulac here, we have several who's currently at 3.8. And if we go down to where 3k is, that's actually 3k is like around top 10 players. Like that's pretty high.
Okay, my mistake. I thought it was a little low, but it's actually pretty high. Björn currently sitting at 10th place. He's at 3,100, 3.1k. I think Rogue is just below 3k. So, I mean, that sounds insane, but honestly, considering the current environment, that players like Rogue, players like Hero Marine, Zound Spirit, I think this is. I don't think that this is too bad for them. Like, obviously, I would assume that this semi-pro series will also include Aligulac points, right? So if you get the players who are at 2,900 or 2.9k, if they win a couple more of these, they'll be ineligible anyway, right? So
Yeah, I'm sure they'll release details as to how they want to do the cutoff, right? Like at what point at 3K, and how they want to deal with that. That's definitely a question that they're gonna have to answer. But yeah, so it looks like basically 3K and below, we're cutting off obviously all the top players, but really only the top of the top players.
The top 10,
As you mentioned.
essentially, yeah.
Yeah. So players like Shin, Solar, Dark won't be eligible. Bjorn, Cure, Maru won't be
I mean,
eligible. Clem, of course.
Dark's not going to be eligible for a long time.
It's true.
Like at least 18 months.
But like this, it's still quite some top tier players that are going to be available here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see the signups and who competes. But it's a really cool initiative here from the Platinum Heroes. I mean, it's a little bit bittersweet because they're also saying that it sounds like they're not going to be salarying their pro team or the semi-pro team to be able to afford this. So it's a little bit bittersweet in that sense, but I'm sure they're also going to be pushing those players to play in these tournaments, right? To play in these cups.
Yeah, that'll be ideal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually have confirmation actually attached to this tweet. If we scroll down, looks like Goblin has decided to be a free agent. So Goblin, he has left the Platinum Heroes, and it looks like Art, Nickright, and Eba will continue to represent them. So it sounds like Art, Nickright, and Eba they will be their current roster. The Polish Art.
There we go.
Polish Art, Nickright, and Eba, they'll still be on the team, but it sounds like the others won't be.
The other Art won't be, yeah.
Well, he left a long time ago. He left a while ago, but yeah.
Still wild to me that for a brief period of time, Platinum Heroes had a player called Art and another player called Art. Both of them played the same race, competing at the same time under the same banner.
God damn it. God damn it. But yeah, definitely looking forward to these events, and they already have the challenge page open for signups. We have Nickeract, we have Jumi taking part as well, so I do look forward to seeing some more participation and seeing this event get underway. So definitely exciting stuff here from the Platinum Heroes. Likewise, we also have a new announcement regarding the map pool for OSC events. Voting has concluded, and they have updated their own tournament map pool.
Indeed, they have. So 2 new maps, as well as 1 legacy map, going to be added to the map pool for OSC events. Sandworm and Spirit Crusher are going to be our 2 new maps, and Oceanborn, which, I'm going to be honest, that feels pretty recent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's from...
I'm not sure what the cutoff point for a legacy map is over at the OSC club, but I don't know, Oceanborn seems like a pretty recent one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's from the last tournament season, right? The most recent previous tournament season
like
was
a year and a half ago or something.
Yeah, even just a year ago. So yeah, Oceanborn is pretty new, but it's going to be added regardless. I mean, it was open to voting, right? This is voted by the players, so they wanted Oceanborn back, so that's fine.
Yeah,
this is what the players wanted. Sandworm, of course, as you mentioned, is a TLMC map, and so is Spirit Crusher as well. So really cool to see some of the newer TLMC maps.
It's what the players wanted. I don't know, Light. I feel like you give a lot of deference. I'm not sure if I'm using that word right. You're giving the players a lot of benefit of the doubt there. I feel like sometimes you shouldn't give the players what they want.
True.
I feel like sometimes the players don't know what they want.
Sometimes they don't. But I mean, Oceanborn, it's a beloved map, but
fairly balanced map, I guess.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree in the sense that I would like to see an older map here, I guess, just because it's always fun to see like the map pool shaken up a little bit, and I always love it to see like Romanticide or Jagannatha or Death Aura once again after so long.
Hashtag bring back Overgrowth, the original 2-player map.
Oh, no, not again. Bring back Habitation Station. But yes, the ladder map pool has been reintroduced, has been adapted. Speaking of new maps and speaking of reintroductions here, we do have the StarCraft Evolution patch that recently went live. Not just the patch, but alongside a new map as well, Death Valley. New old map.
Old school map, yeah. Very classic Brute War map coming in here.
You're like, mate, I want some older maps, and SE even they got you covered, mate. Yo, we got some maps from before you
we
were
got
born.
maps from 20 years, more than 20 years ago.
Let's go.
Holy shit!
They heard you, Yaku.
I'm 25. Holy shit!
Oh no.
We're at the quarter of this year is the quarter of the century. The hell?
Oh my god. Now, to be fair, this is a new map. Actually, Death Valley is. I believe this map was made for either the most recent or the previous season of ASL. So it's only like a year or like a couple of years old, for ASL. So, yeah, Death Valley has been introduced. I've casted one game on it, and it was like a rush, and it was an all-in. So I barely casted this map.
Hell yeah! That's why they call it the Valley of Death.
True. It's definitely an interesting one, and I appreciate that they're porting over not just like old legacy maps but new maps as well. Just quickly double checking. Yes, this is a new map that was made for ASL Season 19. It came out this year.
What am I thinking of then? Cactus Valley?
There's plenty of other valleys for sure.
There's an old like Desert Boot War map that got played on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
What am I thinking of?
I'm sure there's a lot of them. I'll be honest. I'm sure.
They all kind of look the same.
I'm sure
Tech, that's what I'm thinking of.
There you go. So Death Valley has been ported over. It's going to be an interesting one, and likewise, we do have a new patch once again. It does feel like every other week, Yaku, we're getting a new SEVO patch.
Yeah, they're quick.
To be fair, this is not like a
And we actually-
patch, but it's like 14.1. So
Yeah.
it's like an additional patch. Let's do.
Yeah, it's a rebalance to the most recent patch, I think, and we have AVAX in the chat this week, so we can actually scrutinize a little bit more.
True. But once again, jumping into the balance patch notes, and as Kuro did mention, it's a bit of a shorter kind of balance patch from my understanding. Actually, did we go over this last week? Like crazy?
No, we didn't. I mean, this came out after last week's PondCast, so...
Okay. I say that just because
some of the queen changes look familiar, but I think they changed the queen. They changed the queen and then they changed it again.
yeah, potentially, just because this. Okay.
24th
So,
March.
so when it-
the last podcast was 2nd of April. But we did some of these changes look new, but some of these changes look familiar.
we'll treat them like they're new. It's fine.
All right,
we'll
we'll
treat
memento
them like
this.
Yeah.
That's the wrong movie. Groundhog
So
Day.
we
No, that's
covered-
also not the right movie.
We covered patch 1.14, and this is the addition to that patch.
1.14.1. Okay.
Yes. So we have
change
some general
everything.
change. So we have some general changes here. So we have increased the neutral assimilator gate from HP from 450 to 750. This is why I say this looks really, because I'm pretty sure we already went over this change. This is a change specifically for maps like I want to say Troy. I don't know if you remember this, Yaku, but there are these maps that have these neutral assimilators that you can destroy to create like permanent terrain to like wall areas off.
Yeah. And it will permanently shut off that area of the map, and basically like Battlefield.
Yeah, exactly. And we have seen players go for strategies like go for like doom drops and like snipe those assimilators and like wall people out of their own bases and wall them out of their own natural expansions. And it's really exciting to see. But it looks like it's maybe a little bit too easy to pull that off. So they've made some adjustments.
Yeah, especially since they're bringing in new maps, right? Especially with Death Valley, that actually they get name dropped in this particular patch. So. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense that they are looking again at the rebalancing and how to make these changes balance with the new maps as well. Going over to some of the race-specific changes, Terran, we did go over this a little bit last week. The medic is being nerfed just because the healing rate was way too fast and way too strong. A lot of the times, the Marines or the fire bats that were being healed would just stand there and tank shots from like Ravager Biles or literally anything else. So yeah, they changed it last week, I think, to adjust the healing rate. This time it looks like
Yes.
they're also nerfing
It's
it
a fur-
further by
Yes.
nerfing the range of the healing as well as the attack priority target.
Yeah. So it is really interesting to see that that they're continuing to make these little incremented adjustments so quickly. I think we spoke last time when we initially went over this 1.14 patch, like whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that that these patches are coming as quickly as they are. And I think this is an example of them like reacting on the fly. As you mentioned, the original patch did nerf the medic, and from what we've seen, and we have had quite a number of SC Evo tournaments, they've been observing those changes, they've been observing it, and I can say myself as well that it does feel like the strength of those stim timing builds with medics are still quite strong, and I think they've also noticed that as well. They're like, okay, maybe we didn't go far enough, so they're very quickly like adding another adjustment to try to.
Cure is still doing this every single time. We need to nerf. We need to make sure that he actually controls himself now.
True.
Or is able to not do this all the time. We need to encourage him to do something different at least once in a series.
You know what's sad? Is that Cure, he hasn't touched StarCraft Evolution. By the time he does, this is going to be nerfed to the ground, and he's going to still be doing it. He's like, why was everyone like praising this? This is so bad, but he'll still commit regardless, but after all the nerfs. Smurge.
Shaking my head.
God damn it, Cure. God damn it. Yeah. But yes, as you're mentioning, so the medic heal range was reduced by 1, and the attack priority was increased as well. Again, just
and that means that the attack priority. That means that enemy units will, like, if you move to the ground, enemy units will prioritize the medic more than other units, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
I understand.
And going into why this is happening or why this change is being implemented, again, these stim timing and these early bio pushes featuring medics, of course, as support, have been very prevalent amongst Brood War Terran players in every matchup, actually, against Protoss, against Zerg, and we've even seen it a little bit against Terran as well. It's been quite powerful. And because it's been so powerful, I would say that it has made things a little bit dull because that's all they do, right? That's all that certain Terran players are just going for. We're not seeing as much diversity, and just because of the strength of the build and the strength of the unit. So that is being addressed here. I would say that's probably a positive change. We'll see if this does kind of allow players to explore the race a little bit more and try out other builds and go for other styles.
Yeah, that's the idea. I'm sure most players will. Most players not named Cure.
And that was the only change, by the way. Like, if we scroll down further, that was the previous 1.14 patch. This patch really only adjusted the medic, and of course.
They fixed a bug with the Vulture, apparently, where if you timed attacks correctly, you could fire 2 Vulture attacks in quick succession, and so that was a bug. So now they've changed that, so you can no longer do that anymore. But yeah, as you were saying, that's it. If you scroll down further, it is the stuff that we went over last week. So,
oh yeah, for sure. So a nice little adjustment patch here, and I kind of like it. I kind of like the idea of like them releasing a patch and it's like adjusting one unit here, one unit there. Again, we'll see how this kind of evolves over time, whether things become a little bit more standardized or not. But yeah, this is a more, I believe, a reaction change here to try to adjust the medic, and we'll see if it gets adjusted again. I want to say, even if you recall, when it came to the battlecruiser got adjusted quite a lot, like in both directions. Sometimes it would try to nerf it a little bit more, and then they'd pull it back and then buff it a little bit because maybe they went too far. Clearly they're willing to be that fluid with these units.
Yeah, and I think that's the best word to describe this. They're being very fluid when it comes to these balance changes. They aren't just gonna sit around and be like, okay, let's see if some players figure this out, or let's see if players are able to figure this out. They are very quick to say, hey, this doesn't match our vision of how this unit should function in the mod, so we're gonna adjust this to try to make it more in line with what we pictured.
Yeah, for sure. And it also it's also useful as well, just because I mentioned that so many players were just embracing like these stim timings and these early aggressive builds that if they get rid of that, then suddenly we can get longer games, right? We can get longer games, we can get more of the mid game, and we can also see how more units interact, and then look to adjust things there as well. Like if it's revealed that maybe Tyrion is a lot weaker in the mid game, that's why they wanted to try to end the game earlier or try to go for these earlier timing attacks, and that gets exposed. Well, then that can be adjusted, that can be addressed, right? Like then they can step in and try to assist in other ways. So yeah, we'll see how the balance does settle for StarCraft Evolution. And speaking of, that leads us into our first
StarCraft Evolution tournament.
Yeah, look at that. It leads into one into the other. That's crazy.
What a segue. It's almost like somebody
Crazy
put
how
together a spread.
they just exactly go from one topic to the other. Huh?
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
We don't
Good
gotta
job,
jump. Yeah.
Good job, Yaku. Good job. That's beautiful.
Thank you. I picked up on what you were going. Yeah. Yeah.
That leads us into the Kung Fu Cup weekly number 5.
Weekly weekly. I mean, technically, it is a weekly. It's just that every other week they alternate between StarCraft Evolution and Warcraft Evolution. So this week it was StarCraft Evolution, and I gotta say, I love this result. Bjorn, once again, having no idea what he was doing, wins the tournament, beating Dark, who played random, by the way, 3-2.
Oh yeah, let's go. Dark, he was having fun this event playing random. I will say that Dark is, the strongest Zerg player in StarCraft Evolution. But he's been enjoying himself. It's already.
He's not he's not really super competitive now. He's just wanting to enjoy his time the last few days before he does go to the military. So yeah, he's just having fun.
Yeah, for sure. As you mentioned, like he's already publicly announced that he's going to the military soon, so he is having a little bit more fun with his time with StarCraft Evolution. Meanwhile, I was kind of alluding to certain players that do go for these stim timings game after game after game after game. Bjorn is one of them. I want to say that he may have gone for the same build like almost every game in this tournament, just going for like 3 racks bio stim. I want to say he mixed in like mech like here or there every now and then, so he did have a little bit of diversity to it at least. But yeah, Bjorn, he was enjoying his bio for sure.
Oh yeah.
And personally, my favorite part of this tournament as well was in the finals. There was actually a lot of banter between Dark and Bjorn, and they were actually discussing some of the older maps as well. I think I mentioned this. They reacted very similarly when they played in their show match in
map, right? Oh.
Yes. On the island map on the during the show matches previously. So yeah, Dark and Bjorn, of course, really good friends, and really cool to see them enjoying StarCraft Evolution together.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very fitting end, I feel, to this particular tournament.
Yeah. So congratulations to Bjorn. He does take it in the end, does claim the win over Dark, so very well done. Bearing in mind that that this tournament does feature a different kind of format, and they do feature, SC2 versus SC2 and Brutal versus Brutal as well. It is not your standard StarCraft Evolution kind of format when it comes to race choices. Yeah,
this one is each map or each set in every match has a fixed what's it called? Matchup. So game 1, Brute War versus SC2. Game 2, SC2 versus Brute War. Game 3, decide on yourselves. You want to have it SC2 v SC2, Brute War v Brute War v SC2, etc. And then, of course, when we get to the longer series, they do adjust that a little bit.
For sure. I think my favorite part about this, I can't remember if I mentioned this last time, but my favorite part about this tournament is that they feature both island maps. Typically in StarCraft Evolution...
okay, no, I was going to say there were 3 this week, but no, there are only 2.
2.5, I will say. That was
okay-ish.
But Monty Hall counts as like half an island map.
I guess.
But Yeah. Like typically for StarCraft Evolution, I think they only want to ever have one island map in rotation at a time. They don't want to go too crazy with it. But SC boy, they don't care. Like they they don't care at all. They want all the island maps happy, and it makes for some very entertaining series. Is what I will say.
I mean, that's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Just chill out on an island.
With no Protoss.
No Protoss. See, that's the only way you can be sure that you won't come across any Protoss.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So again, congratulations to Björn, does win the KFC number 5 weekly for StarCraft Evolution. That leads us into the StarCraft Evolution League number 9. This was this week's event. I did mention previously, and I should reiterate, that the StarCraft Evolution League was a monthly tournament for the majority of this year, but recently, because of support, they have been able to increase the amount of events that they host, and now it's no longer monthly. Now it is a bi-weekly, every fortnight.
Indeed. Yeah. Back where it originally was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so really cool to see it kind of come back to fruition. And that leads us into the event itself here. A crazy tournament. We had Wayne popping off. I wasn't really too certain where to place Wayne when it comes to his skill level in StarCraft Evolution. I wasn't really too... for a lot of the CIS players, I'm a little bit less familiar. But Wayne, he popped off. He took down Luna C, took down Kiwian, aka TOP, and took down Classic as well without dropping a map.
Yeah, only started dropping maps against Shin, who eventually beat him in those finals, but that is a very impressive result here from Wayne. Like you mentioned, Luna C was one of the top Protoss players for StarCraft Evolution. Top TOP, aka Kiwian, has been playing a lot of StarCraft Evolution, and not only playing a lot of it, but commentating a lot as well, so he definitely knows the ins and outs of this mod very, very well. And then he beat Classic 2-0. Classic, who I would place as the best Protoss player in StarCraft Evolution. So,
yeah,
overall, very impressive result. Even brought Shin to the ace match. Shin, who, for a while, I think I kind of considered to be the top SC Evolution player.
Yeah, 100%. It was a crazy run there by Wayne. When it comes to how Wayne got there, that semifinals against Classic, that was like a 5-minute series.
There we go, yeah. The
Wayne,
Zerg equivalent of 3 racks.
He 12-pool drone pulled the hell out of Classic.
Classic. Hell yeah.
And Classic did not probe scout, so we had no idea what was happening, and the game just ended. The game it was just a really short series. Hyper aggression, massive all-ins out of Wayne. So Wayne, he all-in the hell out of Classic, got him the hell out of there. Because I agree with what you're saying. Classic, he's I would say, the best Protoss player in StarCraft Evolution. But alas, even the best players out there can be vulnerable to cheese, especially if they don't scout. So really well done there by Wayne. He was able to cause the upset, and again had a back and forth against Shin as well. So I look forward to seeing more of Wayne in the future here.
I have to ask, is this the first ZVZ finals that we had in how long?
Yeah.
Not just in SC Evolution, but in overall SC2 weekly tournaments.
I want if you're talking,
or not
weeklies,
even weeklies, yeah.
If you're talking weeklies, I think this is the first time all year. But when it comes to tournaments, if you remember, there was one ZVZ finals, I think, between Rogue and Shin. Was it like a Little League Cup or
right, yeah. It was there was an invitational Little League,
yes,
or one of the SC Boy invitationals.
Yeah. I want to say like maybe 2 months ago or something, where I think Rogue and Shin, they faced in the finals or something like that. So I think that might have happened once, but when it comes to like these more open cups, like this is the first time this year. It's 100%. It's crazy. We finally got there. We got there. It happened.
We had a couple of TVTs. We had a couple of PvPs. We had a lot of TVPs. Had a couple of TVZs as well. 1 or 2 PVZs, but it was ZVZ. Yeah, it was the first one all year. Only took us 4 months.
It only took us 4, and that's only in StarCraft Evolution. So we'll let you know when it happens in StarCraft 2. Like we'll we'll let you know. No. Smurge. And that leads us into our final StarCraft Evolution event of the week, and that was the SCL King of the Hill number 3. Again, this is becoming a more regular event, a King of the Hill style format, and yeah, mate, Ubu Thermal popped
Yo.
off.
Yeah, and I thought Bjorn last week was looking dominant in SEL Evolution. Thermal outdoing that. Coming in match number 2, so he wasn't the starting player, but after he came in and beat 3 Point, won every single match after that. So he won 9 in total. And probably would have won 10 if he was the starting player.
True. Shout out to Thermal. I think he was streaming his POV at the time, and I think he was in the ladder game at the time of match 1. I think he was going to be a starting player, but he was in the ladder game at the time. So I think Hyper One slotted someone else in instead.
Shaking my head, Mark.
True.
Yeah, Hyper One slotted someone else, and so obviously it was Han Mono. Had to be Han Mono.
So Homeowner versus 3 Point initially. 3 Point did get the win, and then as you mentioned, Euthermal, he went on a tear, taking down 3 Point, Green Earth, Prom, Zardiant, Rumiath, Homeowner, Green Earth, Killian, and Magic Turtle. It was insane, the run that Euthermal went on.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah, so really impressive performance there. I do appreciate that Euthermal, he was going for these like stim openers and stim timings 100% for most of these games, similarly to Bjorn, I will say. But he had his own twist to it, and we did see some mid-game every now and then as well. Infamously, I think Hyper One, he posted a clip in our Discord of Zardiant versus Euthermal,
he did, didn't he?
where
Spider Mines.
Yeah, where Zardiant, he didn't fully understand. He was trying to bait out the spider mines with SCVs, and because the SCV moved through the minefield safe, he's like, "Oh, I can go through," and he took some massive mines to the face. He was like, "What the hell? Like, how does this work? I don't understand.
Zardiant?
Yeah.
New to the mod? Question mark?
Yeah. It was smooch.
I guess that's an experience. Yeah.
So we had some really strong moments here for Euthermal, and in the end did come out as the champion, as the winner. Maybe for the next SEL he might be invited, or the King of the Hill. Yeah, he is our King of the Hill. He might be invited. I say might be because I know for OSC they take that initiative to invite the King of the Hill. I don't know if Hyper One's doing that, but hopefully.
Yeah, something to consider for sure.
Yeah. And Mark looking terrifying in StarCraft Evolution, and really well done. We didn't really get to see Euthermal compete in too many tournaments just because the StarCraft Evolution League events are usually at a bad time for NA, and Euthermal, he's living in Mexico, so he just doesn't get to play in them. But this smooth. So, but this event was at a more NA friendly time, so he was able to actually compete this time.
It's forcing Special to actually play again.
True. No wrong. But that leads us into our next tournament. That leads us into the C Duckling Open number 133, our monthly amateur tournament for bronze to diamond players. This time, no Yak.
Yeah.
Yak. You allowed someone else to win the random raffle this time. You let someone else win.
Excited to be gracious this week. You know, I was up on that high after I won the raffle, and so I realized, other people need to experience this as well.
Yeah. Gracious, very gracious, Yaku, very gracious. So we did have the favorite player here, Captain Fish, popping off. We did have some newcomers, what I will say. Tyr, the Ukrainian Zerg player, he was a newer face to our tournament, and he had a good run himself. He was able to take down Ragnar, Horseradish as well. He had a really good performance, but he could not take down Captain Fish, as they even had a rematch, but alas, couldn't quite take the map.
Yeah, not quite. Captain Fish, meanwhile, won the whole thing without dropping a single map. So, favorite all the way. Flawless favorite, as you call it.
Yeah. Very impressive run there from Captain Fish. I know he's been practicing a lot and looking to improve a lot as well, and clearly showing here in the Sea Duckling Opens. Again, for those who are curious, this is an open cup to players that are between the leagues of Bronze and Diamond or below 4.2k MMR. So if you are interested, if you want to take part, if you want to compete, then we got you covered. You can take part here in the
Yeah. Let's make sure you play the minimum mandatory amount of games.
Yeah, make sure you're awake as well, Yaku.
Yeah.
God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. That leads us into our next event. That leads us into the Passioncraft Emerging Stars number 11. Another amateur event, in a way, amateur event. But this is for 5.5k and more
I would
players
say.
and below.
Yeah, semi-pro-ish.
Yeah.
And yes, okay. So for the past couple of weeks, when it comes to these Passioncraft Emerging Stars, we honestly did get pretty surprised with who ended up winning them. We had players who we weren't too familiar with, or some of them even making their debut in these Passioncraft events winning. But this week, nah, mate, we got somebody who we know very well and somebody who we expect quite a lot from in these particular tournaments. Inexorable, the Brazilian Terran player, comes in once again and he wins it.
Yeah, Inexorable, he has been very active when it comes to these tournaments, but he's been having a bit of a harder time in recent weeks and recent editions. So it's a pleasant surprise to see Inexorable make a deep run here, takes down Nihead takes down Defi, and takes down his final opponents there in a best of 5, 3-1. GG. Zebowek.
I was gonna say you said his opponent there. I was about to call you out and be like, you don't know how to pronounce that, do you? But that's okay because nobody does.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it okay? First off, we have to identify: is that an I or is that an L?
I think that's an L.
Okay,
Maybe.
so it's an X. Slebulek.
You know what, Yaku? Yaku, you got it. You have
to. You know what you need.
Uh-huh.
You need to go Abathur, or not Abathur, but Dehaka with this one.
There you go. So congratulations to Zebowek for making it to the to the finals as well. Did go down to Inexorable, but regardless, did make a deep run regardless.
I have an update for you. Gunner actually told us how to read that in the chat.
I'm not reading chat.
Oh, there you go. it does not read like that at all, by the way. It does not read like that at all.
Helbushek. Okay.
How is that a H sound?
I think what's happening here is that they kind of made like Cyrillic into Roman letters without like changing them to the sounds.
Because it's like on the because on the keyboard the sound would be on the X key, I think.
No. Yaku, like some of the Cyrillic letters actually like look like some other letters, and I think they just directly like translated the name like based on what the letter looks like and not what it sounds like. That's what it looks like.
So then that's why the W is like a sh. So okay, Helbushek.
But you know what, Yaku, what I was being concerned by here is we're getting through quite a lot of these Passioncraft Emerging Stars. This is the 11th one of the year already, and each one qualifies a player for OSC Elite Rising Star number 15. We're still working through 14, by the way. Are we gonna get to the point where we like overfill the bracket, like because it's gonna take like another couple of months for the previous event to finish? Like, are we gonna be qualifying players to OSC Elite Rising Star like number 17 while we're still working through 14? Like, what's gonna happen?
I think that's what it's gonna be, right? If you're eliminated early from 14. You can compete for a slot in 15 while 14 is still going on. And so when you have the semifinals for 14, we'll have round 2 of 15. And then we'll also have these Emerging Stars events as qualifiers for Passioncraft for Rising Star 16.
Yeah, that's.
Yep.
I feel like we're banking up a lot of players.
A well-oiled machine is what's going on there in OSC. We got it on. When one goes down, another goes up. It just works.
Works. Sure, whatever you say. I'm worried we're just banking up a lot of players.
We got a system. It's like a factory. It's like a conveyor belt.
Exactly. It's very efficient. Very efficient. There's no brakes on this train.
Well, there were, but Eddie broke them or ripped them off.
Exactly.
He broke the brakes intentionally.
Mm-hmm. So, with that, congratulations, of course, to Inexorable. That leads us into our next event. That leads us into the All Things Protoss Team League Circuit 2025 Spring Split. Oh my god! I know the ATL. They've been running events for a very, very long time, and it looks like they have just now drafted their teams, and they've begun the first round.
Yeah, played off their first rounds, and just gonna skim through these teams to see how many of these players I recognize. I see Fant over on Return to Goobers.
Yeah, so from the top, we have the Baguette Crusaders. So we have a mainly French team, mainly French. The captain.
What are you talking
Italian.
about? That's all French. That's all French flags.
we got a Peruvian, we got an Italian as well, but it's a predominantly French team. So we have the Baguette Crusaders. We have the Blinken Dark Templar as well, with the team captain being Gref.
Is that a pun on Linkin Park?
800% is based on the logo. It just says Blinking Dark and it's Templar, like on the bottom.
There you go. But yeah, Gref is gonna be. It is a reference. Where's the cannon though? Because Gref, he does not make he makes cannons. That's all he does. That's who he be. So
that's the name of a Linkin Park song, right?
Sure. So Gref is the captain. We do have Magnath alongside him, alongside some more amateur players. Heading on over, we have the
I was just gonna say we have
Cinque Fromage.
I was gonna say we have Deadly Kitten, who no affiliation with Team Skitty apparently.
No affiliation. Exactly. We have Cinque Formaggi with Lorimbo as the team captain. Oh my god. Also, hold up. Lorimbo doesn't have a Wikipedia page? What's going on?
Those team members are going to need counseling at the end of the season. They are going to need therapy by the time the season ends.
I'm just happy to see Lorimbo again, because I know that he's been playing AoE and playing other games, and he hasn't been streaming as much. He's been a little bit less active.
Yeah. I just see Lorimbo come back, but I do want to point out that this is a team that only has one Protoss player in it.
Yeah, and everyone's off racing, I just realized. There might be a rule to that, depending on your
and
MMR.
It's Baby Marine, who's off racing. Yeah.
Well, it's Baby Marine and Bonan. Bonan also off racing as Zerg, as he is usually a Protoss player. So that might be a prerequisite. If you exceed a certain MMR, you might have to off race instead, which would make sense. Let's going down. We have Feline Beyond Cocoon's End.
That's based on a movie, but I don't remember which movie.
Is that based on a movie?
That's based on a movie. I don't remember the name of the movie. Something Beyond something End. It's not Star Wars. It's not Star Trek. I feel like it's a sci-fi. The name of it based on a sci-fi movie.
But I cannot remember what
it's like something beyond Journey's End. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
I remember this. Oh, it's an anime. Never mind.
I mean,
I don't know why I was thinking sci-fi movie. Apparently, it's an anime, a fantasy anime about an elf.
There you go. So this might be the Weeb team. There's always one. There's always at least one.
Freyren Beyond Journey's End.
I was gonna say that's the anime that's super popular right now, because apparently it's about an old elf that's a retired adventurer.
I see memes all the time where it's don't pet the elf or something.
I've never seen this before, but apparently it's a Netflix anime, so there you go.
That's the one that I always confuse with the other anime that also has an elf in it.
There's a lot of that.
No, but I mean the one that people are memeing about now. It's also a Netflix anime. Hold on. Netflix. Dungeon Mushi. That's the one. I always mix up these two, because the elves.
What's Dungeon Mushi?
It's basically Food Wars. It's basically Food Wars. It's basic. Yes, exactly. It's Food Wars, but in a dungeon.
Okay. I'm locked in. You got me.
It's on my log.
The English version is called Delicious in Dungeon.
Apparently the dub is really good, but I'm
Prosody
I don't know,
playing
man.
in the tab.
Oh, let's go.
It's fine.
Okay,
Let's
okay.
go.
I'll watch a dub then. I'll watch a dub instead of sub then. I like pros.
So we have our elf enjoyers here with Spazzy Mazzy as the leader, with Nishu, Mirage,
Of course.
D-Smoth, and Angrath as well.
What's a cocoon? Wait. Because I assume Phaline is just, they wanted something that sounds similar, but why a cocoon? Maybe that's a reference to the anime.
Maybe. You have to watch to find out. That leads us into the next team. Forced off race. I don't know if anyone's off racing though. We have Solicitus, Danilo, Echo Soldier, Patches, and Sacred Coconut.
I can tell you for a fact Patches isn't off racing. So
yeah, Danielle's Protoss, like Solicitus. I think
maybe,
he's
maybe somebody didn't put it on Wikipedia. It's just races or something. I don't
or
know.
maybe it's a meme. Maybe they just
maybe it is a meme.
Yeah, we have No Monkey Magic with Ledlix as the leader, with Cognite, Nihet, Ogma, and Winget.
I was prepared to root for this team because of Ledlix and Nihet, but because of the name, I can't support them. I can't support them, man. No
Monkey Magic. Yeah.
No Monka? Come on.
God damn it. We have only cannons with Adamin, Alutin, Rake, Xenodactyl, and Zerila. 100% with Xenodactyl on the team. It's only cannons. It's a.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
This is a team that Graf should have joined.
For sure. 100%. We have probably overslept with Bomyoja, Franz, Goblin, Jackie, and Tixt with Goblin off-racing as Terran.
Yeah. And also being the captain.
True.
Nice to see Jackie in here as well. Jackie, not to be confused with Yamyoi.
Or Pleiades.
Yeah, or Pleiades.
Yeah, there you go. As up next, we have Return of the Goobers with Azaril, Fiant, Lilypad, Sebestus, and Stonester.
I too misread that as Azrael. Diablo, but it's Azrael instead.
Azaril. He's on the Planet of Heroes. I just played against this guy on the ladder today.
Did you win?
Yeah, I did. That's interesting. I was like, when I played him, I was like, I recognize his name from somewhere. I'm like, do I know him? Okay, well, there you go.
There you go.
So best of luck with Fiant. Oh, yeah, Fiant off racing his Protoss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I did not bat an eye when I saw the Protoss symbol next to Fiant. It's like, oh right, he means Zerg.
True.
He has the personality of a Protoss player.
He does. Sebestus is also off racing though, as Zerg.
Yeah.
There you go. They switch races.
Which again, I did not bat an eye. Sebestus, he's got the personality of a Zerg player.
That leads us into Smurf time. We have Empo, Hydra, Luilis, Marsbar, and Takwa.
Yeah, I believe most of these players are off racing. Hydra isn't off racing. Okay, never mind. Yeah, but Luilis is off racing.
Yes, he is. That leads into, not to be confused with the Goobers, but the Gooners. We have Phogos, Gunner, Heaven, and Flatub Thor, and Yoberg Riss.
Thor, yeah, just Thor.
There's Thor. Yeah,
this is. I'm gonna assume that this is a debut team because if they weren't a debut team, they would have been called themselves Return of the Gooners.
True, exactly. And that leads us into the Viet Cong, which does not feature a Vietnamese player.
Or Kongs.
No, or Kongs. With Akedon, Antikor, Dankomon, Haroku, and Ibi Ri as well. Why is Jackie not on the Viet Cong team? What's happening? Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Jackie, literally, he's Vietnamese and he's a Kong.
Yeah. And he's the only Vietnamese player in the entire league. God damn it. But some interesting teams. Okay, first things first. Before we jump into the groups, Yaku, upon seeing all these teams, do you have a favorite team that you're cheering for, based on the players or the team name?
I like Probably Overslept a lot. I like Goblin, I like Myoja, I like Jackie. Those are all three people who I know pretty well, and I like what they do. I especially like the Goblin's off racing against Terran. I think he's a rather cheeky player, a rather cheeky Protoss player. So I'm excited to see what he brings, what builds he brings forward as a Terran player. But mostly, that name, the team name, is one that it speaks to my soul.
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably the team who I'm going to be rooting for the most in this season.
Did you probably oversleep?
Yeah, I overslept today. Well, no, I underslept today. I overslept yesterday.
There you go. I agree. I think maybe we're like a little. Obviously, we have our connections with like Jackie, for example, and Goblin and Bold Myoja. So I would agree that they're probably like a fan favorite for us for the Ducklings. Looking at some of the other teams though, if you're going for probably overslept, I gotta go for my boy. I gotta go for Cinque Formaggi. I gotta go for
that. That's probably my number 2. It's like, the thing is, I'm worried that if I root for them and they actually do end up winning, I'm worried Lorimbo might blow out his vocal cords.
Yeah, for sure.
Which actually, you know what? That might be what we want.
I had to do it.
I forgot we have a soundboard now.
We do.
I forgot we have a soundboard.
Okay. I have to go for the rainbow family. I gotta go for it. Alongside Bonan, Baby Marine, Arky, and River. So, that'll be the light team for me.
Okay.
But there's so many. There's a lot of really good ones as well. Like I can definitely see like Return of the Goobers doing well as well. It's hard. Like Return of the Goobers, it's hard to say for a lot of these teams because so many players are off racing. So like it's hard to judge like the strength of their off race. But the memes are there for sure.
Yeah. Can't wait personally. Round 1 did just finish up, but again, it's just round 1, and there's gonna be a long group stage. Like it's gonna be a month until it's gonna be a month until the group stage wraps up, and then of course we have the playoffs after that. So it's gonna be a while.
For sure. Week 1 just completed. Coming into week 1, our teams just faced off. we had Cinque versus Overslept. It looks like these are round robin groups as well. So these are big groups.
Yeah, very close match between Cinque and Overslept. Both the first 2 matches that end in ties, but then Revo brought it forward for Team Cinque Formaggi. Lorimbo not playing this week. Revo did bring it out and did manage to clinch the victory there for Formaggi.
Yeah, neither one of the captains played this week, like Lorimbo or Goblin. Like they didn't rock up yet, so it looks like they might be preserving their strength for the rest of the group.
Exactly,
maybe.
They're preserving their strength for the playoff finals.
Yeah, the rematch.
Yeah, this is the first match that was played. It's also going to be the last.
True. That leads us into Smurf Time versus Gooners. Smurf Time do take down Gooners 4-2. Did go their way. Likewise, we have Blinken versus Goobers, not to be confused with Gooners. That's not confusing.
Yeah. They've become so numb. ?
They have. They're crawling in their skin.
And in the end, didn't even matter because they won.
Didn't even matter. Paper cut.
And,
as this was a little bit more once. They do take the series a little one-sided here.
Linkin Park.
No shot. God, you're such a child.
I was like 7. I was like 7 when that movie came out.
God damn it. Yes, I think that song played in the credits, right? I think.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? Yeah. But congratulations to Blinken for taking that series. Heading on over to the other group, as there are 2 groups here, Group A and Group B. We have the anime team up against Baguette to go 42. Favorite anime.
Not even calling them by the name that they chose. It's the anime team.
Yeah, it's the anime team. It's the weeb team. You know who it is. You know.
Yeah, you don't respect the choice of names, so you know. we don't really respect or recognize that choice of name, so it's Team Weeb.
Yeah, it's Team Weeb. It's Team Weeb. Let's go. As that leads us into Off-Race versus Monkey. I feel like this name is it's misleading because it's no Monkey.
Exactly.
SMH my hedge. Does go the way of Monkey at 4-2, and then we have Viet Cong versus Cannons going the way of Viet Cong 5-1.
There we go. No Jackie, by the way. Oh well, he played for Overslept this week, so.
True. Is he allowed to like be a mercenary for Viet Cong? Is that how that works?
It should be.
Maybe it should be.
He has to be. He has to be careful about the uncles, though.
I miss the uncles.
Yeah.
Merge. But yeah, this is an event that's going to take place over the rest of the month. So it's going to be a month-long event. Plenty of matches ahead of us when it comes to the group stage and the playoff bracket. So look forward to it. It's going to be amazing, I'm sure. And shout out to Gemini. I believe Gemini is going to be doing a lot of the casting alongside some of the other All Things Protoss members.
Indeed. Apparently, Gunnar was telling us in the chat that the matchups or the pools, so who plays in each week is selected by... Wait, let me reread that. Selected by the mods of the tournament, so it's not up to the teams themselves to decide who plays whom. Larimbo going to be playing next week, as a matter of fact.
Wait, so the teams don't get to field players, the mods field players?
Yeah, as the Discord mods, not the
Maybe
like,
it's like
there are tournaments don't have
categories?
mods.
Maybe it's categories. I mean, I'm sure Gunnar can clarify.
Yeah, I mean, Gunnar, he just said like the teams don't get to choose who plays. that's crazy. That's crazy. Oh my god. So best of luck to all the players and teams involved. The memes are going to be real, I'm sure.
Placate the mods as best you can.
Exactly.
What I'll say.
But that leads us into our regional events. That leads us into our first tournament here, the 3D Community Super Cup number 4.
Indeed, the tournament for the CIS region. This week won by Strange. Okay, beating Nicorak twice.
Yeah, I mean, if you recall, Strange, he popped off during the Fire Cup last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago at this point. And Strange, he had a really strong performance, taking down Wayne, taking down Nickrak, taking down everyone in his path. And his reign of terror continues, as you mentioned. He did drop a map to UD Soldier, but Strange, he popped off, and outside of that one map being dropped, he won everything.
Yeah. Pretty good result. I mean, I think we were kind of speculating 2 weeks ago if Strange is going to be able to keep up that momentum. It felt like it did feel a little bit like in that Fire Cup because they were using a Swiss format, right? That month.
Yep.
Yeah, it did seem that there was a little bit of other factors at play going on there. But yeah, I think this week, if there were any doubters of Strange from that Fire Cup, he's kind of put them to rest.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So just really strong results here from Strange, and I mean now is the time to be peaking, especially coming into potential qualifiers for EWC. So Strange is looking very in form, at least in the CIS region. When it comes to other notable results here, Shameless had a really rough time. Shameless, he went down to UD Soldier in the first round, and he got knocked out by Art as well. So yeah, Shameless, he did have, I would say, a bit of an underperformance in this event. Especially
because Shameless, when I think of Shameless, I think of a PvP sniper. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he did get defeated in the PvPs is very surprising to me.
Yeah, for sure. So, really strong results for UD Soldier, Art, and of course Strange for making it through, or for taking those matches, I should say. Nickrat had a good performance himself as well, bringing down Art twice in this tournament, but still does fall to Strange. On top of that, it looks like the 3D community, they're hosting multiple events. So we had the Super Cup, which Strange is the winner of, but there was also the Premier edition of this as well. It looks like the Premier
Super
Edition.
Cup Premier League, it's what they call it. So
Let's go. Let's go. So it looks like this is, I mean, there's still players here getting involved, but this is like just under the certain limitations here. Looks like they are going to be cutting it off by MMR. So basically they get all the signups, then they do split them off based off of MMR. So you have your top 8 players in the super event, and then you have your next, I guess, 16 or 8 to 16 players in the premier event.
Yeah, so not quite an invitational, but there was a cutoff point. They would only be fielding or accepting 16 players for this tournament.
Yeah. So they get seeded into different events depending on their MMR. So here we did have
8 players in this event.
Yeah. So here we did have Mindo VK once again. I feel like I keep underestimating Mindo VK just because again he's been doing a lot of casting, doing a lot of content creation, but despite that, takes down Drostock, takes down Mitchneck, and it takes down Replicant in the rematch as well. GG.
Nicely done here by Mindo VK. Like you were saying, I do normally think of him nowadays as more of a tournament organizer. We don't really get to see him compete too often, but it's glad to see that he is still in form in a sense and is still keeping at it.
Yeah, he had an intense back and forth against Replicant, so really, really nicely done there by Mindo VK. That leads us into our next amateur event for the 3D clan. So again, it looks like they do split off like the signups here depending on their MMR ranges. And here we did have a little bit of some lesser known players. I do notice DeWalt from Brood War. He did take part. We had Airbest. We had Zebulek, who we saw earlier as well. Also. Yeah. There you go. Didn't make it to the finals, but in the end, Airbest did take the win.
Just like so.
Yeah, so congratulations. So yeah, really cool to see that the 3D Clan are hosting events like this, where they're trying to support like multiple facets of the community, of the tournament players. Not just the top players, but also just spreading the love a little bit towards almost all ranges involved.
Yeah. Encourage a little bit more participation from lower leagues in a sense.
100%. As that does lead us here into our next set of tournaments. That leads us into Code for Giants Cup number 23.
Indeed. And we actually had PvP finals this time. Okay. Normally I feel like we don't really see mirror matchups in the Code for Giants tournaments. It's usually, Eric versus Inexorable, or Eric versus Master, or Master versus Inexorable, or any combination of all of that. But yeah, we do have this time it was Master versus Allison in our grand finals.
Yeah, we had a crazy result here. So Eric, he wasn't involved. This time, Eric was not involved. Also, I should emphasize as well, I think I might have mentioned this last time, but I was asking Inexorable why he was inactive. Because Inexorable, he actually has been missing for quite a number of Code for Giants Cups and Amantis StarCraft as well. Inexorable did explain that he was busy. He was unfortunately busy with studies. He was doing exams for university, exams for college. So he wasn't able to focus as much on StarCraft, but now he is back. He's back in full swing. Despite that, Allison popped off. Allison took down Inexorable and took down Kamikaze as well to make it to the finals. Crazy upsets here. Allison is a strong player, is a GM, of course, but is typically not making these deep finals runs.
Yeah, but didn't make it all the way to finals this week, so impressive. Beating Inexorable as well to get there.
Yeah, really, really impressive performance there by Allison. I can say that Allison did cheese the hell out of Inexorable. I want to say one game went proxy 2 gate, another game went for a 2-base Glaive Adept all in, and another game went proxy Immortal. Yeah, Proxy Robo, Proxy Immortal, 1-base all in as well. So nothing but cheese, nothing but aggression. Allison is a very cheesy player. Did cheese out Inexorable, did cheese out Kamikaze, but was unable to cheese out Master.
Yeah. Master, he is a top Protoss player in Latin America for a reason, and that's mostly because he knows how to deal with all the other cheeses out there. Very cheesy region.
Oh yeah. Especially. I mean, from Allison, from Turkey Dano as well. True. Like thinking back on some of the other Brazilian players. So Master, he was very, very in form and looking very impressive. Was able to bring Allison down. So congratulations to Master. Shout out to Allison for the deep run, and I look forward to seeing more of Inexorable in the future and seeing him improve once again.
Yeah. Well, keep our eyes peeled.
For sure. That leads us into the HSL, the Hispanic Star League.
Yes!
It has been a while since we've had an update on this, as it took a while for the groups to wrap up, but the group stage has finally concluded.
Indeed, it has. We actually have a playoff bracket as well. So the last time we went over this, I think we stopped at Group D?
Yep.
Or Group E? Somewhere along those lines. So, yeah, we were also kind of looking at the other groups and looking at the other players, and for the most part, it kind of went the way we expected. Vortex and Ryojin making it out of Group F, Davo and Hunter making it out of Group G, with Eon and Louisbourg making it out of Group H.
Yeah, when it comes to Group F, I would say was the group of death. Like, there was some big names here. We had Vortex, Ryojin, Draconics, Neo, and Shift Click as well. So, very intense group, very back and forth. It was very exciting to see Vortex again. We did speak on this, like, last week or maybe the week before. Vortex, he is a legend in SE2. He has long since been retired. And right now, he does focus on Age of Empires 4. He's a content creator and a player in AoE 4 instead. But he did return to SE2 for the first time in many, many years to compete in the HSL. It was great to see him back. He had a unique style as well. He played a lot of Muta in these EVTs, a lot of 2-base Muta, 3-base Muta. Very out of meta nowadays at the pro level. But to see Vortex rely on that again, it was very nostalgic. It was nice to see.
Yeah. Still able to pull it off. Still shows that, if your fundamentals work really well, you don't have to be super concerned with the meta.
100%. When it comes to some of the matches, I do recommend Vortex versus Draconics. It was a crazy TVT. Like, we had Muta versus, like, Mass, like, Thor, Cyclone. Like, Draconics, he was meching it up hard, but also, like, a really unique form of mech as well. Like, it was crazy to see them face off, and it was very close. 3-0 in favor of Vortex, but still very tense and very back and forth, and yeah, it was a great group to indulge in. As you mentioned, when it comes to the other groups, a little bit more to be expected when it comes to the results. Some of the bigger names do make it through. Another big group that was really hard to call was Group D. I don't know if you saw, but in Group D, we had Mute, Bombilla, and Luciano. Luciano is another big name and barely didn't make it through.
Just barely. 1 point away from tying there with Bombilla.
Exactly. So it didn't quite make it through. And with that, we have the playoff bracket. Now, these playoffs are going to be played over the weekend. This weekend is when the playoffs will take place, and they will conclude as well. I believe it's going to be a 2-day event. And we have our round of 16 set up for us.
Indeed. So, day 1, I imagine, going to be round 16 and quarterfinals. Day 2, semifinals, third place match, and grand finals.
Yes, exactly. And when it comes to round 16, we have a Special versus Ryojin, Eggs versus Zions, Mute versus Daryl, Tavito versus Hunter, Eon versus Charlie Cox, Vortex versus Lulithspor, Akedon versus Fair Spitter, and Chem El Chamaco versus Bombilla.
Oh boy. Plenty to look forward to this year. Yeah.
Do you have any predictions? Do you have any predictions here for how you think this tournament is going to progress? What do you think will happen? What do you want to happen?
What I want to happen, I think, is kind of the expected answer, but I still want it to happen because it's kind of a grudge match between those two. And it's very, very possible that it'll happen here, as they're literally on opposite ends of the bracket. Special versus Cham.
Yeah.
I absolutely want that grudge match in if not the finals, then at least a third place match, because oh boy, they got some beef ever since they played together in that 2v2 tournament. I feel like the beef, the carne, has been asadaing.
100%. Like, again, seeing a Special and Cham face off against each other, it's gonna be intense. It's going to be close, and as you mentioned, I think a lot of us do expect them to face off in the finals. I can see a world where some upsets occur. It's hard to say the level of Akedon's Protoss, right? Akedon, for a long time has been a Terran player. Now he's playing Protoss. it's hard to judge him against Cham specifically. Likewise, Vortex is also going to be a problem, I feel, against, or can pose a threat to Cham as well. Eon, I can see these guys taking maps, but as you said, like, it's going to be difficult to take the series off of Cham. So Cham is going to be a heavy hitter. Special is another really hard one to call, just because Special has been very out of practice. He's been very out of practice. He hasn't really been playing in many tournaments ever since last year, October, so he just hasn't been active. But in recent weeks, he has been laddering again. And if you remember, I think we saw Special in a recent Bassus Big Brain bout.
Yep.
And and he had a really strong showing there. So Special, he's going to get back in form.
Mm-hmm. Plus, you can get coached by Euthermal.
True. Yeah. You can bring him in. The question is, should we have allowed Euthermal to play in this tournament? Should we?
Yes.
Is he one of ours at this point?
Es española.
Sí.
Sí. Española, c'est bueno. Mark.
Oh, no. Maybe for the next one, we'll get Mark involved. That'd be a lot of fun. But with that, look forward to this. Again, it's going to be taking place over the weekend, and we're going to be casting it in English as well. It's going to be a lot of matches, a lot of StarCraft over the weekend, so we'll do our best to try to keep up with it and to crown our first HSL champion.
Yeah.
Here you go. As that leads us into our next event. That leads us into the Legacy Weekly Japan number 450. Another regional event here for Japanese players. This time there's no Psyarch. We do see Notakon popping up.
Indeed we do. I mean, last week we were talking about not quite the Legacy Weekly Japan Open, but a different Japanese tournament that specifically forbade Psyarch and Vasravania from competing in that. No such restrictions this week, but like you said, no Psyarch. Vasravania wasn't the winner. In fact, didn't even make it to the finals. Got defeated by a player called Burfil in the semis.
Yeah, I would say a big upset, right? Like Vice Ravania, if there's no Psyarch, then we expect him to make it through instead. But no, as you mentioned, didn't even make it to the finals, and Notakon will be the champion in his stead. So very impressive result here by not just Notakon, but by Burfil as well. GG.
GG. Very nicely done.
Very nicely done here. As that leads us into our next tournament, we've been waiting for the updates here on this tournament all week long. The Chicken King Team League 2025 Spring Qualifier. How many kitties are left?
Oh, only one. Only one. And yeah, we're not going to be able to see that Skitty v Skitty match again, as Super Kitty, or Skitty Prime, as we like to call it. That's a team with Silky. Did get defeated by PCEC, which, in fairness, pretty tough team to overcome.
Yeah, PCEC. I mean, they've got players like Mixu on their lineup, so one of the bigger teams out there. They do take the win over Super Kitty Prime, as you did mention. So now Super Kitty number 2 is the only Super Kitty left in the qualifier. I mean, is the only one left. The others, they've fallen.
In the tournament. Yeah. Do you think it's because Skitty 2 was the only one to beat another Team Skitty? They absorbed the power.
Yeah, they did. They absorbed the power of the kitty, so they have their chance against PCEC. Meanwhile, we do have Rookie Warpgate. They take down Team Kauda 4-2 as well. So Kauda, they are out of the tournament. Rookie Warpgate, they do face off against Protoss the Best in the qualifying match as well.
Yeah, 2 more qualifying matches, 2 more qualifying slots, or slots, either work. I kind of combined the two in my mouth a little bit, so came out to slots. But yeah, 2 more remaining for that regular season and for that main event.
Yeah, so best of luck. I'm sure we're going to be getting updates next week for that for the qualifiers. So best of luck. Coming into this, do you believe in Super Kitty 2? Do you believe in them over PCEC?
I got it, right? I believe in Mixu.
We need at least one kitty
in the
main event.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's not going to be easy. Not going to be easy, but best of luck to Super Kitty. Likewise to all the other teams involved. That leads us into our next weekly tournament of the Sunrise Cup, number 195. This time we do have a more notable or recognizable name here. In the previous weeks, we've had some more up-and-comers like Take the Win and Pop Off. This time, Nanami Chiaki fights back.
Indeed, he does. One of the more consistent players nowadays, I feel.
Oh yeah, definitely one of the more consistent players. Does take the win here, takes down Miggy in the semis, and takes down his opponent in the grand finals. Very impressive.
Is that Flight Rice? I think I remember that. Flight.
Huh?
That's the opponent's name. Flight Rice. I think.
Flight or fried rice?
Flied. Because that first character is like bird or something.
Ah.
Or fly.
Or maybe flying rice?
Yeah, potentially. That's what I remember.
Okay, I think we've encountered this name before. Apparently.
Oh no,
Tsukino?
that's Wintermelon. Yeah, that's Wintermelon.
It's the huh? Tsukino Shika.
I should put like a
I think it's someone
disclaimer on
else.
screen. Do not believe any of Yaku's translations.
According to Google,
do not support us.
Google detects the characters as Japanese characters. I think we went over that last time.
I don't think they are, but okay.
Yeah. But regardless, Nanami does take the win at 3-1, so congratulations. Again, Nanami is no stranger to taking these Sunrise Cups, so very well done. But again, I do appreciate that we always have some solid sign-ups here, and we do have a lot of players threatening Nanami from time to time. This time, of course, it was the Zerg opponent. GG.
Yeah, GG. Wintermelon.
There you go. As that leads us into our next event, that leads us into the Super 7s 37, a best of 7 show match.
A lot of Terran this time.
We skipped one, just so you know.
Oh wait, so my apologies. The Super StarCraft Global number 17.
Yeah, a lot of Terran this time. My brain didn't register which numbers you were saying. I was like, okay, yep, let's go. I'm like, yep, let's go into the thingy.
Yeah. As you mentioned, a lot of Terran. We did have once again the Mountain Boys face off in the first round. Smurge, Creator, and Beyond. They did face off in the best of 5. We had Gumiho versus Bunny. What I appreciate the most though out of this tournament, a lot of ace matches here in the first round.
Yeah. Beyond beating Creator, but that was a 3-2, and Gumiho beating Bunny, but also a 3-2.
Yeah, very close matches. Very close, very intense. In the end, Beyond did claim the win, takes down Gumiho 4-2. Does take the win here and does claim that best of 7. A very impressive result there by Beyond, taking down both Creator and Gumiho. But again, just some really competitive matches overall.
Yeah. Great to see, especially if you're a Terran fan.
Yeah, so GG, well played. Especially because TVT is a matchup that we rarely get to see nowadays in Open Cups, so really fun to see them featured here as well. Gumiho often doesn't compete in Open tournaments nowadays, so it's great to see him featured in not just that invitational, but this next one as well, with Super 737, Gumiho rocking up once again.
Yeah, defeating Nightmare this time, 4-2.
Yeah, so when we did have our best of 7 here, Nightmare is one of those players that did take a break, but recently has been returning. Part of it may also be because of the EWC announcement. So great to see Nightmare does return. Did have a bit of a shakier start here against Gumiho, but again, it does feel like Nightmare is still kind of shaking off that rust and regaining his skill again.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
So Nightmare getting back on that horse. Meanwhile, we do have our next big brain bounce here, number 92, featuring some old school players once again.
Yeah, this week the theme seems to be Americas versus, or I guess Americas battle overall. I was gonna say Americas versus the world, but yeah, then we get the Future versus Mutant. They're both Americas players, and of course the main event Scarlet Re Special. So.
Yeah, just America's all around here, as you mentioned. So we had Patches versus Hacker is Top in a TV random. Did go the way of Hacker is Top. We had Gunner versus Eric. Eric does take the series
Our
3
very
to
own.
0.
Yeah.
We are true, our very own Duckling. We have Future versus Mute going the way of Future 3-1 as well. And as you mentioned, we had the starring or that final match here. That's main event Scarlet versus Special.
Which did end up going in the way of Scarlet. I mean, we were talking a little bit earlier on about speculating as to Special's skill level, and this may not really bode too well, but of course, Scarlet, she has been active this entire time, and she has been practicing this entire time, so maybe not as worrisome if you're a fan of Special in that HSL.
I would put a caveat on that. Just like Special, Scarlet, last time she competed was August of last year. So Scarlet has not been competing, has not been playing either. Just
she
like
played that
Special.
SC Evo match against Bjorn.
True.
I say
did
recently,
happen.
that was also months ago.
That was also that was released recently, but that was recorded months ago. So yeah, Scarlet, just like Special, has been on a hiatus. Scarlet did recently play in the Boomer Bash, if you remember. She was invited. That was her first time. That was her first time back. That was her first time back since August of last year. So it was great to see the return of Scarlet for both the Boomer Bash and the Big Brain Bouts. So with these returning players, we do see that Scarlet is more in form than Special, than Juanito. And hopefully this is also maybe a bit of a wake-up call because, again, Chem, I'm sure, is also going to pose a threat. So this does I'm sure this will kind of motivate Special to get ready and prepare for Chem.
Yeah, hopefully, anyway.
Oh, yeah. So congratulations to Scarlet. Likewise, congratulations to Eric, Future, and Hacker is Top as well. Very impressive performances here. And yeah, really cool to feature a lot of NA representation, as you mentioned, or just America's representation with Latino America and North America.
Yeah. We got Canada. We got Peru. We got Brazil. We got America.
We got Mexico.
We got Mexico. We got Mexico isn't part of the Netherlands.
There you go.
But yeah. Mark, pretty soon though. I'm pretty sure Mark is working on that.
It's one or the other. Either Mexico's going to become Netherlands or Netherlands will become Mexico.
Either way. Either way, that can only lead to good things.
Exactly.
Think of the food. Waffle tacos. Think about it.
I think that already exists, I'll be honest. I think I've seen that before. No.
Stroopwafel tacos. Think about it, huh?
But that leads us into our weekly events. That leads us into the OC King of the Hill weekly number 205. We do have this time no... oh, never mind. I was going to say there's no one that went on a big win streak, but no, never mind. It's Solar. Solar did pop off. This time, no Bjorn.
I think the SC Evo King of the Hill kind of broke our expectations as to what a big win streak is meant to look like after, especially this week with Mark. But yes, Solar did go on a tear, winning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches in a row. Would have won match 15, the final match as well, if not for Bjorn popping up right at last second.
Yeah, exactly. Bjorn, he popped in right at the end here to make sure that Solo was not the final King of the Hill. So Bjorn, he does claim that title as he does get the snipe at the end of the event. But a shout out to Chance early on. Chance competing for the first time in a long time. It's been a while.
I don't see him too often nowadays.
Yeah, so really cool to see him pop up every now and then. Likewise, Sebestis did get the win over a Chance. We had GG Machine over Sebestis. So really a big back and forth early on, at least until Solar did arrive.
Yeah, GG Machine having a little bit of a win streak himself, beating Sebestis, UED Soldier, and Honmono, but that got put to an end by Nicorect, which got put to an end by Skillus, and then Solar rocked up and just held on to that crown right until the very end.
I'm telling you, it's the redemption arc, Papi. It's the redemption arc because Solar, he didn't just come back and go on a win streak. He beat a bunch of Protoss.
Exactly.
That's what's incredible, Papi. That's what's incredible. Ah, God.
Solar, Gerald, Jumi, Creator, and Shameless. Yeah, those are the Protoss players he beat.
Exactly. This sparks joy, Papi. Okay, Sola, he has a smile on his face after this. He may have
He
gone down to Beyond at the end,
you
but
you
he
know
went
what it
down smiling.
was? He went to
Mm.
match 15. He knew it was the final match, and he knew he wasn't facing a Protoss player. So he was like, "Okay, my work here is done."
Yeah, exactly. His life goals have been completed. He can leave a happy man. GG. So congratulations to Beyond, of course, for claiming that final win, but shout out to Solo for going on that massive win streak. Again, Obviously King of the Hill is a unique best of one style format, and it is a weekly regular event. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of this in the coming weeks.
That's the idea.
That leads us into the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League number 72. This is a bi-weekly tournament. Every 2 weeks we do feature the KSL. And this time we had a very, very impressive result here as Cure did pop
Quite a
off,
few,
taking
yeah.
down Creator, taking down Beyond, and taking down Rogue.
Yeah, taking down Rogue for that victory in the end, but also a couple other big results. I mean, Rogue, it's been a while since we've seen him in the finals. Lemon popping off, making it all the way to the semis, and even taking a map off of Rogue. Beating 3-Point in the first round, I'm now realizing. So, yeah, really impressive results all around in this KSL. But of course, could only be one champion, and it was this week, Cure.
Yeah, Cure, he did pop off in those finals. Rogue was looking impressive against the Protoss opponents. Against Classic, he was able to take down Classic 2-0. He was able to take down Lemon as well. But in the TVZ, Cure, he was a beast. He was hyper aggressive. He was very in the face of Rogue, and Rogue just could not get comfortable. He could not get into a solid mid to late game. He was able to one of those games, but only in one. So very impressive performance there by Cure. It was great to see, as you mentioned, Rogue once again, just because he is not the most active of players, but does make it to the finals. But Cure does take the win.
Yeah, and especially now that Dark is going to the military, right? We need more Zerg players, and especially more Korean Zerg players to kind of fill that and make sure that there is some Zerg representation in these tournaments. So Rogue showing that he still got what it takes to at least make it all the way to a finals.
There you go. It does show that he has what it takes. That leads us into the Hatchery Cup number 14. This is the first Hatchery Cup in a year. It's been a long time. Hatchery Cup used to be a monthly tournament. The previous Hatchery Cup was back in 2024, back in May of 2024. So it's been just under
Almost
a year since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, just under 11 months. But it's back. It's back. It has returned, and it was great to see it once again.
Yeah. Good to see it once again, and great to see the players who signed up for it as well. Got a nice little big variety coming in here. Another Zerg player make it to the finals this week. Week of Zerg?
Yeah, Nikic, week of Zerg, not a single, they didn't win, but, they made it to the finals. Let's go.
They're making it far, yeah. Nikic beating Nikorak, which is pretty impressive. Yeah. Beating Exorbital as well. Did end up falling to Bjorn, but it is Bjorn we're talking about, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bjorn, he had a really strong performance here. I was most impressed by Shameless. Shameless, as you saw, he was the only player to take a map off of Bjorn, so really impressive result there by Shameless. And this is the Shameless that we more expect to see, right? Shameless took down Arch, took a map off of Bjorn. He did have some rough showings in the previous results that we went over, but here he was a force to be reckoned with.
Indeed, even beating an Exorbital in that third place match, so yeah, showing that he is still a PvP sniper, but he's also more than that.
Exactly. So congratulations to Bjorn, and of course this is an open event as well. So Bjorn, he was all on that, able to pop off and take his first Hatchery Cup win. And I did ask Hatsu, and Hatsu did confirm that she does plan on hosting more Hatchery Cups in the future. Once again, making this a regular monthly event, at least for the near future, for the next couple of months. So we should be seeing another one of these next month in May.
Am I mixing this up with something else, or am I? I feel like I'm remembering now the story of the Hatchery Cup name coming down. I think she said at one point that Hatchery was the first building or something that made sense. I'll find it. It was somewhere in our Discord server.
Yes, it was in our Discord. I believe it was
a
in our
funny
Discord
story,
server. Yeah, for sure. I recall. I think it was earlier this year, maybe 2 months ago or something. But yeah, Hatsu did bring back the Hatchery Cup, so it's great to see it return. And congratulations to Bjorn for taking the win.
Yeah. Congratulations all around.
That leads us into the Sparkling Tuna Cup number 87. Leads us into our first set of weeklies here. And this was an intense tournament, and we did feature a new player to our tournaments, Showtime. Showtime, for the first time, he did compete in the Tuna Cup.
Indeed. Almost walked the Royal Road.
Yeah.
Very, very close. Almost walked the Royal Road, almost walked the Lonely Road, but will have to settle for coming in second.
Yeah. I mean, he had a really strong performance. He took down MinoVK, Captain Fish, and Skillus, all 2-0, or I should say 2-1 against MinoVK.
We almost had another Skillus versus Beyond finals. I want to point that out for the Sparkling Tuna Cup, but Showtime put a stop to that. And made it all the way to those grand finals to face Beyond instead.
He did. Bjorn, meanwhile, he did not drop a single map in the tournament. Bjorn looked like a beast in those finals, by the way. It was insane. Like, Bjorn, he looked very strong and very dominant in those finals. Shout out to Showtime for making it to two-set finals with Bjorn to take the win. Also, if you're looking at the bracket, you might see a bunch of walkovers. For those that are unaware, this event actually coincided with the Wardy qualifier. There was a Wardy TV qualifier that was happening, and a lot of the players that did forfeits were actually playing in the qualifier at the same time. So Geralt, Shameless, and Nicaract, they unfortunately were unable to continue their runs, and they were focusing on the Wardy qualifier.
Yeah, makes sense. Good to have confirmation there. I was gonna ask, like, wait, did this tournament coincide with Sword Up's wedding? So it had to go. So Geralt had to, and Shameless had to go get ready for it. But no, I don't think that's the case. Yeah.
I would love it if this did coincide with the wedding. That we had Shameless, Geralt, Nicaract going to the wedding, and Showtime was also at the wedding, but he was pulling a zest. He was playing from the venue.
They were at the reception table. He had his laptop out. They were like, "We're about to serve the food," and he's like, "No, one second."
So man, I gotta knock Skillus out of this. Like, I gotta deny him the entry into the finals. I got this. Let's go.
And then you get like a bunch of guests like behind him, like all cheering for him to knock out Skillus.
Yeah.
and then he wins, and it's like, all right, sort of, here's my wedding present to you and the bride. Trophy.
I mean, it was the same week. It was the same weekend. You're not wrong. It was the same weekend of the wedding, so it's possible. It's possible. Showtime. God damn it.
Yeah. SMH.
But congratulations to Bjorn, of course. And again, hopefully we get to see more Showtime in the coming weeks in our tournaments. Again, we've slowly been attracting more and more players. This was also the very first Sparkling Tuna Cup that did feature an extended map pool. I meant to say an extended prize pool. For the first time, we were able to pay out top 4 instead of just top 2.
Indeed. So Geralt and Skillus, still going to be able to walk away with a little bit of prize money.
Exactly. So thank you so much to all the supporters on Patreon for allowing for that to happen, for growing our events, and for getting to the point where we can pay out even more players. Thank you.
Kamsa.
Yes. As that leads us into the Wardy TV Mondays number 30. This was the following day. Of course, this was this Monday. We did have
this was after everybody was hungover from the wedding.
Exactly. And Hero, he popped off, mate. Oh my god, not dropping a single map here in this tournament, not even in the finals.
Yeah, I think that potentially that EWC announcement kind of gave him a little bit of motivation, especially since his face was put in the graphic over there. But yeah, this week Hero went on an absolute tear, beginning on Monday by beating first off, by beating Geralt 2-0, then Bjorn 2-0, then Solar 2-0, and then finally Clem 3-0. Hero beating Clem is not unheard of, but Hero clean sweeping Clem, that's the big surprise.
100%. I remember casting this tournament and saying that to begin with. I was like, okay, they often go back and forth. I'm going to be favoring Clem coming into this, but I don't expect a 3-0. And then bam, game after game after game. And these were like pretty fast games as well, is what I will say. Like, these were fast, these were aggressive games, and Hero, he just popped off. It was crazy. As Hero, he was kind of speed running his way through the tournament and knocked Clem out. And I remember stating at the end, I was like, damn, Hero, he's looking very good, very strong, very impressive. Clem is still, of course, the reigning world champion, and I expect a rematch in the Monday Night Weeklies.
Oh, yeah.
And we got a rematch.
You mean next week? Or, right?
No, wait,
Monday Night Weekly, not what? Yeah, Monday night.
Yeah.
So many Mondays. God, I hate Mondays.
Yeah, so Monday Night Weekly was 2 hours later, 2 hours after the end of the World TV Monday. Bam, you get the European Weekly instead, and we did have some players staying up and playing in both events.
Yeah, Hero, I mean, we've been mentioning this since a couple of weeks ago. He's been learning the ways of the D-Gen. He hasn't gone full D-Gen, so he's not fully Bjorn or anything like that, but he has been staying up later, and it paid off for him this week. As you mentioned, Hero and Clem, they did have that rematch. Hero knocks Clem down to the lower bracket in the upper bracket finals. They rematch. Clem wins the initial set, but then in the reset match, which happened because, of course, Clem was coming in from the lower bracket, Hero was able to beat Clem again and himself in 2 tournaments, hours apart.
Yeah. 2 tournaments in a row, 3 series. Hero, he 2-0'd Clem. He then was able to win the rematch. I mean, it was a back and forth. True, this time this is what we wanted. We had a back and forth between Hero and Clem. But in the end, Hero did barely come out on top in those best of 3. So very impressive performance there by Hero. Clem likewise had a deep run as well. I mean, of course, to make it to those finals, even knocking Bjorn out with his Protoss as he usually does. But yeah, that's once again 2 tournaments in a row. Crazy run here this week by Hero.
Insane. You'll love to see it.
For sure. Likewise, I don't want to gloss over Showtime. Showtime also popping off. He took down MaxPax 2-0 in the upper bracket quarterfinals, and he also took a map off of Hero as well. So Showtime looking very impressive in that PvP. I mean, hey, he took down Skillus in the Sparkling Tuna Cup, but also showing his PvP prowess here in these tournaments as well.
Yeah, PvP looking very, very strong here for Showtime. He also beat Ryung in the upper bracket round 1. Once again, though, Bjorn had his number, and so Bjorn did end up eliminating Showtime in the lower bracket.
Yeah, he actually eliminated a lot of players. Bjorn, he took down Trigger, Showtime, and Solar. So, he had a pretty good performance in that lower bracket.
Really good performance there at lower bracket. I kind of overlooked this. Jumi actually took a map off of Bjorn in that first round in the upper bracket.
Yeah.
Bjorn fell early in the upper bracket to Solar, but of course he did end up getting his revenge later down the line. So, good results all around. Good result for Bjorn. Good result for Bjorn's opponents.
For sure, for sure. Again, it's that best of 1 format. Every time. I think we actually praised Bjorn last week for something similar. I think he also had like a crazy like best of 1 performance after his King of the Hill run in the Monday Night Weeklies, and Bjorn just built for that sort of thing.
I just realized Bjorn lost to Solar in the best of 3, but he beat Solar here in the best of 1, and also beat Solar in the King of the Hill match. So best of 1. That's where Bjorn evidently excels.
God damn.
Unless he's facing Clem.
That's where he thrives. That is where he thrives. So GG, well played. Congratulations to Hero. Also, before we get past it too heavily, yes, I did see Matt in the chat, and I did gloss over that. It's not on the Wikipedia page, but in the Water TV Monday number 30, Hero, he didn't drop a single map on the Wikipedia page, but on the challenge page in the round of 32, he did drop a map to 1 player.
Oh.
Yeah, let's go.
Take a look at the challenge. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Big
Matt,
results.
the only player to take a map off of Hero. Let's go.
You know what it was? He took a map off of Hero, and Hero took that personally.
He did. Matt, you angered Hero. That's what. Oh my god. Clem has you to thank for that.
Poking the bear, yeah. So really, Matt, Hero should be thanking you for waking him up.
True. But really well done, Matt. Really well done. Really cool to see Matt popping off and taking a map. Again, Matt, he himself is also a strong player in his own right, and every now and then he does have these big results as well, taking maps, if not even a series of these bigger names. GG.
Yeah, GG.
As that does lead us into our next tournament. That leads us into the Pigasaur Monday number 26. This was a couple of hours after the Monday Night Weekly. And what I will say is that this event is missing some players. You spoke about D-Gens and players going for all-nighters. Hero and Solar typically go for all-nighters as well. But this is where it all comes together.
Time, they were hungover.
Well,
No,
kind of. If you recall, this is the event where they were actually scheduled to play their soccer or their football match against the wedding team, against the foreigner team.
Yeah.
Yes. And they were going to be playing it, I believe it was scheduled 2 hours after the end of this tournament. So both Solar and Hero, they actually got some sleep to rest up, to actually compete and play.
Actually had a decent breakfast. Yeah.
Yes. Björn, he went full zest. He stayed up all night, played in all 3 tournaments. As you saw, he was in that lower bracket in the previous tournament. He stayed up, and then right after this, he went to play soccer. God damn it. He went full
No wonder Team Korea lost. And he was their goalie.
I kept saying during the cast, I want to see them live stream. I want to see them pan over to Björn every now and then. It just seemed like just collapse on the ground, just like pass out like on the field. Like God damn it, Björn.
But somehow still blocking the balls.
Yeah.
They just tie him to the goal, like stretched out, and then every time Team EU kicks the ball, it's just whacks him in the head.
Yeah, exactly. I remember some of the casters were asking like what happened to the signups or where were certain players, and I remember letting Pig know that they're getting ready for their soccer match later on that evening, and that's also why the finals was like 10 minutes. Like it was like Björn, I think he like cheesed every single game. Like it was a really short finals.
Shin played in that match too, didn't he?
He did. Wait, no. He did not. No, okay. Shin wasn't involved. Yeah, he was not full DJ. But speaking on the players, before we get into the finals, Björn, he still performed really well, even though he did not get any rest. He took down Cure, took down Max Pax in the semifinals. That was a very intense and very chaotic series, by the way. Very back and forth. And to make it to the finals, likewise, Shin, he toured Clem. A lot of people coming into this tournament, they assumed, Clem versus Max Pax in the finals, right? Like that's what they always do. But Shin and Björn had other plans. That's soccer plans.
Oh, exactly.
God damn it.
Do you think Björn was like secretly hoping he'd get eliminated early?
I'm sure he was. God damn it, Björn. But yeah, so really, really impressive here. Shin, he tours Clem. Shin, he takes down Björn 3-0 as well. And for the first time in a long time, we get a Zerg champion. Weaker Zerg.
Yeah, Weaker Zerg.
Let's go.
I mean, Solo won a few things a couple of weeks ago,
true.
right? So
yeah, true. Yeah, that was his redemption arc. Yeah, you're not wrong. Wrong. Did have his redemption arc, but Shin here, he steps in where there is no Solar, and Shin, he takes down Clem, takes down Björn. Again, the finals did leave a lot to be desired. Like the finals was a little bit weird. Like Björn, he was just proxying and cheesing, and it did feel like he was kind of playing. Or he was having fun in the finals, just because it did feel like he wanted to wrap it up a little bit, just so he can head off. But GG.
I have to ask now, since you reminded me, how does a soccer match fit into Solo's redemption arc?
I hope it's being shown.
Is that
right
when
now,
he learns the power of friendship?
This is where we can show off the teams here. So originally I did ask Björn, and he did say that the teams were going to be himself alongside Creator, Hydra, Armani. I was so surprised and so happy to see the names Armani. Hydra and Armani again. Armani's all the way on the left, I believe. Armani's all the way on the left. Above
That's who
Solar.
I was mixing up for Shin.
That's all good. So we have Armani, we have Solar, we have Björn, Hero, we have SOS as well. I can't quite place the player in between Hero and SOS. I'm not gonna lie. He looks familiar to me, but the name does elude me here.
Bunny.
No, it's not. It's not Bunny.
Are you sure?
But
it might be Bunny.
It might be Bunny. In the background, we have Creator as well, of course. And then we have the Foreigner team. We have Spirit, we have Drogo, we have Raynor, Lambo, Harstem, and sort of as well.
I don't think that's Hearthstone.
Isn't that Anton?
That is Anton. I'm pretty sure that's Anton.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Zanster. Zanster is over there behind the SOS, and next
Yeah, we
to
have
Anton, I think that's sort of.
I don't know if Hearthstone and Trigger are taking the photo, because apparently Hearthstone and Trigger were meant to be there as well. So I don't know if this is the full lineup and if there's other people behind them, or if maybe Hearthstone was hungover. It's possible. It is very possible.
I
But
forgot
yes.
that Hearthstone's also married now.
Yeah, there you go. True. But it's really cool to see everyone together. Once again. Saka family. And not just seeing SOS here, but I want to say SOS was also part of the tennis match that they were playing.
Like a few months ago?
Tennis?
It was tennis. Table tennis.
Yeah, I think SOS was also there as well. Was it tennis or was it volleyball?
Handball. It was handball.
Okay.
It was handball with all the guys. Bunny was also there. Impact was there, but they censored his body.
Sue was there. I remember that. Sue
was there. Yeah, it was handball.
Yeah, there you go. Last time. Yeah, they're touching grass together. Except it's indoor soccer.
These are indoor sports. Yeah, handball and indoor soccer. I mean,
exactly.
And nowadays, also on soccer fields, they use synthetic grass, but.
But with that, so that was of course a couple of hours after the Pika Storm Monday, so that's why the finals was a little bit faster and a little bit more chaotic. But regardless, the semis were not, and again, Shin and Beyond they were in full force. So really impressive performance there, really well done. Congratulations to Shin for being this week's champion. That leads us into the Rex April Madness. We had the March Madness last month.
I gotta say, April Madness does not work.
Yeah, it doesn't.
There's a reason it's March Madness, Rex. Come on.
I agree. It needs to be like the April Apocalypse or something. Like we needed some alliteration, Pat. Some alliteration. God damn it.
Angry April.
Yeah. Or like the April Apes or something.
Yeah.
That's something. We need that alliteration. But yeah, this caught me by surprise because I didn't know if Rex was going to be hosting the event on a monthly basis, but I didn't know if the March Madness was like one-off, but apparently not. Apparently the madness continues.
Yeah, which, I mean, makes sense if you know Rex.
True. True. As we do have another big invitational here from Rex, a lot of players. We have 4 groups. We have 4 groups at a playoff bracket as well. It's going to take all month to play through this event. Last night we featured Group A, and tomorrow we're going to be featuring Group B. So far we have Hero and Solar making it out of Group A over Gumiho and Lemon. These are not round robin groups. They are GSL groups.
Also, yeah. GSL style, but as the group progresses, as you get to the decider match, elimination match, etc., the length of the series is extended. So you start with best of 3s, and then you get to best of 5s.
Yes, exactly. So we do have the rest of the groups as well: B, C, and D, and Yaku. You know what time it is? It's prediction time. Yes, Gamba time, papi, Gamba time. Group B, I mean, a lot of these groups are very, very stacked. Group B is a little bit more lopsided in the sense that Nice is a retired player. I was pleasantly surprised to see Nice and Lemon. Lemon actually, he had a decent showing as well. He actually did take maps off of Solar in his series. But yeah, Nice, he's not a full-time player anymore.
We're missing Haas as
True
to close off that Taiwan representation.
100%. Would have been great to have seen Haas here. So we have Clem, Shin, Classic, and Nice. Who do you feel is going to make it through the group stage?
Well, I feel like Shin has proven himself this week, so we got to go for Shin as one of them. The other one, I mean, it's got to be Clem, right? It's either going to be Clem or Classic, but then again, I think Classic is very motivated right now to show off his best, so that's going to be another factor.
it's also one of those things where the last time we saw Shin in a group, and we heavily bet
no,
against
stop
him.
making him out. That's why Nice is gonna be making it out first. You know what?
True.
I'm gonna go with Shin and Nice then.
There you go. There you go. Shin, he's proved us wrong before. Likewise,
me wrong again and not make it out.
It's possible. Just to spite you. Yeah, I'm gonna probably lean towards Clem, as you mentioned, Clem, and probably Shin as well. I mean, it's a toss-up in a way between Shin and Classic. Shin did recently defeat Clem 2-0 in the Biggest War Monday, which was crazy impressive. He could even do so again here in the group stage, but Clem, it's hard to bet against him. As amazing as Nice is, gonna be a little bit hard there, so I'll lock in Clem and Shin. Lock him in. All right, Group C, 5 days from now. Group C, we have 2 Terrans, a Zerg, and a Protoss. We have Dark, a Cure, Zaun, and Bunny. I was very surprised, by the way, to see Dark in this group, because Dark, he has not been playing in tournaments. He has not been signing up for the even this week's KSL. Dark, he was not there, but he is here for Rex.
Which is why Dark is going to be making it out first in this group. He's going to be making it all the way to the finals. And then he's going to be dragged into boot camp. He's going to be dragged into boot camp.
No, not like this. So, I mean, there's a pretty stacked group here. I'll be honest. I was going to say this might be the group of death, but the next group is also stacked as well. So who are you feeling? Who are you feeling making out of the Group C?
So obviously Dark. And I would say Zaun, because Zaun has been impressing me lately, and he's also... he was one of the few players who actually played in the qualifiers for Stara Zagora, but I can't bet against Bunny here. Going Dark and Bunny.
Ooh, okay. I mean,
I just want to see more Bunny, I think.
I feel like we have the same conversation every time we see Bunny in a group. We're like, I just want to see more Bunny. I agree. I just want to see more Bunny, Bobby. Oh my god. It's hard to me to pick here, but I'm probably gonna go Dark and Zaun. I rate Zaun quite highly, but I also know that Zaun has been struggling a little bit as of late. But as you said, Zaun, he's also going to Star Zagora, so he's looking forward to a big offline event. And likewise, Curie has some killer TBT. Bunny, he's a very fun player to watch. I'll go for the Zerg and Protoss here. I'll go for Dark and Zaun. But actually, wildcard prediction: we rock up for Group C, and Dark can't play because he's
Dark can't play.
that. I can also see that happening as well. I'll be honest. No.
5 days from now, so next Monday.
We'll see. That does lead us here into Group D. Group D is going to be Max, Bjorn, Rogue, and Ryung.
Yeah. So Bjorn obviously is coming up from a very, very impressive week here.
True.
Which is why I don't think he's going to be making it through this group.
Okay.
Rogue, I think, has impressed me quite a bit with his results this week. He didn't win anything, but did make it to finals and did have some very, very close series. His ZVT, though, is quite lacking by the looks of things. I'm gonna lock in Ryung for now, just because it's Ryung. He's my boy.
Yeah.
The second slot, I feel like MaxPax underperformed a bit this week, so I'm looking forward to seeing MaxPax make it through this group next week.
Yeah. Okay. So you're looking in MaxPax and Ryung?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I
think Ryung beats Bjorn in TBT as well, so.
True. I mean, I can see the logic. I think Ryung, I think he could beat Bjorn in TBT. I think he will beat Bjorn in TBT, but I also feel like Ryung probably wants to cast this tournament. So, I don't know about that.
Well, he'll be cursed to keep. He'll be cursed to keep winning. Is what I think will happen.
Fair enough. I'll be looking in MaxPax and Bjorn. As you mentioned, Rogue, his ZVT to me feels a little bit undercooked. Leaves a little bit to be desired. Bjorn has been on fire. Exactly. He needs to
Vomit.
go back into the oven for a little bit longer. But yeah, Bjorn has been looking really impressive as of late. He's been on that grind. He's been full degen for a long time, and it's been working out well for Bjorn. Been working well.
Yeah.
I want to believe. But yeah, that's going to be the group stage here for the
They're predicting Bjorn and
Max Packs.
Okay.
Lock him in. Lock him in.
Yeah.
So these are going to be next week, and of course the playoffs are going to be in 2 weeks' time as well. So we'll be able to catch up on those results in the group stage and catch up on predictions for the playoffs thereafter. That leads us into the WhatTV Spring Championship 2025. The qualifiers did take place. The group stage has yet to really get under swing. I believe Group A did just begin during the course of this broadcast, but there were a lot of qualifiers, players making it through the WhatTV Mondays. It did get a little bit complicated because players kept like requalifying, so they had to like shift things around, but we have our set players.
We do. Finally, we have our groups. 4 groups of 5. 3 players from each group is going to be advancing to the second round of the group stage, and yeah, these are some big groups.
Yeah, they're massive round robin groups. That is crazy. So a lot of matches are going to be played out. We have Group A. Group A is currently taking place. We have Classic, Mana, Ryung, Nickrat, and Dark all facing off. Did we predict these groups previously, or did we not?
There weren't groups last week, so.
Okay. Fair enough. So we have Group A. Who are you feeling, Yaku? Top 3 make it through. You have some leeway. You have some.
Okay. So I gotta go for Ryung, obviously.
Mhm.
Once again, I feel like I want Dark to make it through just to keep going in the playoffs and then not be able to play in the finals. So
yeah.
this will be in the military. So Ryung and Dark are gonna be a first 2. Third one, that one's tough. I like all of these 3. I like Mana, Classic, and Nickrat. But you know what? Mana and Classic, they let me down in the Boomer Bash. I predicted both of them to make it through. Neither of them made it through. So you know what? I'm giving third slot to Nickrat.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So Dark, Nickrat, and Ryung. Do you see the first result coming in so far, or?
No, I didn't refresh it. So
Okay. Fair enough. So coming into this, I'm gonna go for the other 3 most likely. I mean, Classic, Mana, and I'll go Classic, Mana, and Dark here. Mana, he's another underdog that like keeps getting really good results recently. And he has been popping off. So I have a really hard time betting against Mana as of late. So I'll go for the double Protoss and the Zerg. But best of luck to Ryung and Nickrat for sure. They're definitely strong competitors here in this group. And again, because there's 3 spots to make it through, like they have some good chances.
yeah.
Okay, Group B.
Okay, Group B. We got Gabe, we got Creator, we got Rogue, we got Zound, we got Gerald.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I gotta give top spot to my boy Creator. And that'll give the second slot to my boy Gabe. And then the third one I should give to Rogue. So I have one of each race. But I'm gonna give it to Zound instead.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Gabe, Creator, and Zound. I mean, this is a pretty heavy Protoss group for sure. Gabe has been looking very impressive as of late. I want to say it was like 2 weeks ago that Gabe actually knocked out Max Packs from like a Monday Night Weekly in a best of 1. Like Gabe, he's been looking very, very impressive. I think I'm probably just gonna echo what you said as well. Like Creator, Zound, and Gabe. I think I'm on board.
Yeah.
That leads us into Group C. Group C, Shin, Cure, Showtime, Young Yakov, and Trigger.
In this group, first off, I gotta give it to Showtime because he played in Sparkling Tuna Cup.
He did.
Then I think Shin. Well, again, Shin really impressed me this week, so we'll go for Shin as the second one. Third slot, I gotta give it to Trigger. I feel like Trigger is the only NA player in these groups, so I gotta give it to Trigger there. He's also the best NA player, if you ask me. So
He is 100%. He's the number one in NA right now, and we don't see enough of Trigger, right? It's like Trigger, he hasn't really been active. We gloss over him from time to time, but Trigger, he has been playing in the Monday Night Weeklies, but he's usually not playing in the Woody TV Mondays or the KSL or any of these other tournaments. So we just haven't really seen much of Trigger as of late. I'm not saying he's not playing in anything, but he's just playing in less than what he used to. So I have a really hard time placing Trigger.
Well,
I'm lockstep though with Shin and Showtime for now.
that's because Trigger was preparing for the soccer match.
True. He was getting ready for what mattered. He was getting ready to take the field.
Yeah.
Go for Messi.
Or the arena. It's indoor.
Yeah, the arena. So I'm a big Trigger fan. I want to cheer for Trigger. Cure, he's been looking terrifying recently. I think I'll go Shin, Showtime, and I'll go with my heart. I'll go for Trigger. Go for our boy.
Yeah.
Commit. Up next is Group D. Group D, we have Bunny, Percival, Solar, Jumi, and Skillus.
This one's a tough one.
It's a tough
Well, not really.
Nah.
So first off, I'm gonna go with Bunny because I want to see more of Bunny.
Yeah, we all.
Then I'm
wanna
gonna
see more
go.
of
Then I'm gonna go for Solar because I still think that he's in the redemption arc.
Yep, redemption arc, 100%.
The third player is hard to pick though. Percival.
Yeah.
He's obviously a Chad. Jumi. He is obviously the hero. And Skillus. I feel like Skillus is. I feel like this is the year for Skillus. I feel like it's very, very soon that we're going to be seeing Skillus really break through and win a big tournament. So I don't want to bet against Skillus here. But I also want Jumi and Percival to do well.
Yeah, I think this is maybe one of the hardest ones to call, to be honest. Like, I think the skill level between Jumi, Skillus, Solar, and Bunny is actually all quite close. And like throw Percival into the mix as well, and then things can get really, really shaky.
I think this is going to be the group where a lot of people are going to have upsets in their predictions. I mean, no matter what, there's going to be a lot of upsets this group. Because all these players are so close, neck and neck, right?
So who you locking in?
I'm locking in Bunny, Solar, and I'll go for Nikita. I'll go for Skillus.
Oh, okay. Let's go. I think. God, I don't want to bet against Nikita. I don't want to go against our boy, Pappy. I don't know. It's I feel more comfortable betting against Jumi than I do against Nikita. So I'll do the same. Bunny, Solar, Nikita. Let's go.
Let's go. Watch Percival and Jumi make it out first.
They will. God damn it. But we do have the group stage concluding this week. We have next week getting into group stage 2. So there's layers here to the group stage as well. There's a lot going on. Likewise, it all unfolds. It all leads into the playoff bracket. So big shout to Wardy for hosting this event. Again, I believe this is all funded via Patreon, via support from the chat, by support by the community. So big shout to the community for making this event happen. Again, a seasonal event here. Wardy, he has been doing this for fall, for summer, now for spring as well.
Yeah, winter as well. So all 4 seasons to look forward to.
Oh yeah. So big shout out to Wardy, big shout out to the community as well. That leads us into our final event. That leads us into the Bellum Gens Elite 2025 Balkan Qualifier. And coming into this, Nidix was the heavy favorite, and we have confirmation Nidix does take the win. I'll be honest, I was expecting MSRM to get into second place, but no, Brockstar. He took down MSRM in the rematch.
Yeah, nice to see here. It's nice to see all the signups as well here. I mean, this was open to all players from around the Balkans, but for the most part, it's mostly Bulgarian players, which I guess makes sense. You know, it's right down the street for them. The venue,
yeah.
So
Exactly. We had players from Bulgaria, players from Serbia as well. I was actually looking into it previously.
Serbia.
True. Yeah, in the end, we do see Nidixie does claim it. It didn't go down, or I should say, other players did pose a threat, though. We saw that Almighty took a game, MSRM, and Blockstar. Like, we did see quite a bit of back and forth there. Nidix did claim it, but not unscathed.
Yeah. Did have to work for it quite a bit. And yeah, so with that, we have all of our players confirmed for
True.
Bellum Segura.
Yeah, we have our full set of players. I believe we have yet to really seed the main event. Quickly double checking though, but as you mentioned, we have our 100% of our players confirmed, and the formats will be revealed soon once we get closer to the event.
All 16 players. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We got players from the Americas, from Korea, from Europe, from all over the world. So it's going to be a great time. When it comes to the main event, the Belgium Zagora is going to be in June, so early June. So we're still a ways away. We still have time to prepare and to get ready for it. But that's going to be the next big event that we look forward to before EWC.
Yeah, about 2 months from now is what is going to happen. And it's also going to be a big event, right? To kind of place where our players are at and see what the form is looking like for EWC.
Exactly. Unfortunately, we are going to be missing. Oh, actually, we're going to be featuring all the top players. There are some that are going to be missing. The big notable one is Hero. Hero is not going to be part of this tournament, despite being one of the best Protoss players or best players in the world. But we have everyone else. Likewise, of course, Max Pax. But Max actually doesn't play in offline events anyway. But we have Raynor, we have Cyril, we have Clem.
Yeah. We have Maru, we have Harsem, we have Skillus, we have Spirit. Most of our usual suspects. I will say that when it comes to the EU qualifiers, that was pretty brutal. So, yeah, maybe a couple of players who you wouldn't necessarily expect. A couple of players who you would have expected to make it through didn't quite get through. But for the most part, we have all of our top players. And then, hey, a couple of wild cards as well. So that's always nice to see.
Yeah, I will say that I think one of the things that I'm most excited for when it comes to this tournament that I don't really know what to expect is Maru, just because I think we spoke about this before, but Maru has been very lackluster this year. Like Maru, he has been having some really, really rough results. But as we were mentioning at the time, part of it was probably because of what was happening when it came to his military service, when it comes to what was occurring there and how like uncertain that was, whether he would even be able to compete. And also, I'm sure because of EWC as well. So, yeah, Maru, he's kind of been hibernating for a couple of months now, and yeah, we'll see if he can get back into his like championship form in time for this tournament.
Yeah. That we shall. And as a reminder to everyone, during the qualifiers, Maru did off-race his Protoss, and he managed to beat both Rex and Zaun without dropping a map. So that's another thing that I'll be excited to watch from Maru in this event, to see if he off-races, and if so, like how often. You know,
what you're saying is
learned a little bit from Clem potentially, or no, he went the opposite of Clem. He didn't play any Terran players in the qualifiers, so.
True. The real question is, if Maru and Clem play in this tournament, do we see a PvP? Just saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know what it's gonna be? It's gonna be Clem saying, okay, since you're playing Terran, I'll off-race as Protoss, and then Maru saying, wait, but if you're going to play non-Terran, then I'm going to play Protoss as well. And then Clem going, okay, if you're going to play Protoss, I'm going to play Terran. And then Maru saying, oh, but TBT is my best matchup, so I'll play Terran instead. And then they'll keep going on and on and on.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they do end up race switching or not. But yeah, regardless, it's going to be an amazing event to look forward to. Again, still a ways off, as it is over in June. But regardless, at least we have our players selected and confirmed.
Yeah. We know who's going down.
Exactly.
Going on down to Bulgaria. We actually have all of our Basilisk boys, I'm now realizing.
Yeah. Well,
all our Basilisk boys, all our Vitality boys as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Crank will go there in spirit as well. Or he might just go there. We'll see.
He'll go there in spirit?
Mm-hmm.
What does he need spirit?
Yeah. With Piotr. As that wraps up our events for the week. Again, there was a lot of tournaments to go through, a lot of news here this week as well. Again, really excited to see all the players coming together in Korea, and hopefully we get to see some content out of Korea as well, to just take advantage of that opportunity that they have. But otherwise, if you want to tune into more of these events, if you want to sign up for them yourselves, then the sign up list. We do have !signups in the chat. We'll give you a link to the list here of all these tournaments where you can take part in StarCraft Evolution League, Sunrise Cup, the Turtle Tussle, Amateur League as well. There's plenty of events over the course of the week.
Yeah, lots to look forward to.
Oh yeah, plenty of open sign-ups, so do check out that list. Again, it is uploaded on a weekly basis, so plenty of sign-up tournaments available there. Likewise, if you want to support this tournament, or sorry, if you want to help support the CranKy Ducklings, you can do so via Patreon. Our current Patreon is set to our next goal. We're almost there. We're working our way through to boost the prize pool even further for Sparkling Tuna Cup.
Indeed. You know, next week, or not next week, if we hit eventually in the future, we're going to make it to the point where it's not just semifinalists. So it's going to be quarterfinalists walking away with something.
Yeah, exactly. So we are slowly growing our events, and thanks to your help, thanks to the people in the chat. So thank you so much to all of our patrons for funding and for supporting the CranKy Ducklings. And likewise, even if you don't support via Patreon, but subscribers, or even just watching in the chat, thank you.
Much appreciated.
Yes. And with that does wrap up our events for the week. But Yaku, where can people find more of you? And are we getting a stream soon? Soon, TM? Maybe?
No. No, not anytime soon. But eventually when I stream, that'll be over on twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1. Follow me on twitter.com @EmperorYakuzaku or Blue Sky @yakuzaku.bisky.social. And I'll announce in those two places when I do eventually go live, or exclamation mark Discord and chat. Visit our CranKy Ducklings Discord server. So you can find me, so you can find Light, so you can find Kuro, so you can find everyone, including the bot that announces when one of us goes live.
Yes, because Yaku will not post that on his social medias.
I will forget.
God damn it.
That's a promise.
So you can check us out over on !socials in the chat, our Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings do upload on YouTube on a daily basis, so there's plenty of content on YouTube. You can support us there, or you can watch us there if you wish, as VODs are no longer going to be available here on Twitch. YouTube is the place to be for VOD content. Have you gone through your VODs yet, Yaku?
I actually didn't make it past the threshold, so...
Ah, there you go. There you go.
I'm in no rush to export my VODs.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. But yeah, with that, thanks so much for watching.
I didn't hit the limit yet. There we go.
There you go. With that, thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, a big shout to Kuro as well for providing the production for the show and for hosting the broadcast. So thank you so much to Kuro. Thank you so much, Yaku, for joining me today as well to go over all the news. And we'll see you guys next week for some more news here for StarCraft.
See you then. Bye.
Ciao.
Bella.